Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Today, we're joined by Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders, to talk about the Week 1 college football matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide taking on Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee coming over to Tuscaloosa. The two teams haven't met, I believe, since 2015 in the game. Alabama won 37-10. As you know, everyone is looking towards the Week 2 game against Texas, but not us. We're focusing on Week 1, just as Coach Saban would. Chip, I wanted to bring you in to talk about Middle Tennessee, provide some context about this game. Last year, when we look at Middle Tennessee, 8-5 on the year, ending with a 4-game winning streak, beating San Diego in the Hawaii Bowl. And kind of one of the notations that I had also was they beat number 25 Miami. Rick Stockstill, I mean, he has a wealth of knowledge. So first of all, thank you for joining us. And if you can kind of just give us a quick preview, and then I'll kind of pepper you with some questions regarding Middle Tennessee. If you can just how's this team doing entering the season from fall camp? Where's the mentality? And as the new faces and whatnot take shape, how is this team coming into the college football season?
Well, I think that, everybody's waiting to see. I mean, Coach Saban, Coach Stockstill, they're all waiting to see how they react against a different color jersey, that kind of thing. But, I've heard Coach Stock. I've been around him ever since he's been here. So this will be his 18th season. And he has a couple of things. Number one, they actually came out of fall camp with a number one quarterback, which was very unusual. It was always, we'll wait and see, that kind of thing. But Nick Vattiato came out of the spring rather, as the number one quarterback after the graduation of Chase Cunningham. And, and he has never let that number one status go. Offensively, there's some new faces that we're waiting to see, but there are some older faces who, should give a good base. There are 13 total starters returning, 8 on the defensive side, 5 on the offensive side. And you have an offensive line going into the Alabama game that is probably as intact, healthy, and deep as he's had in the last few years. They've had over the last couple of years, they've had some tough luck with injuries, with linemen getting nicked up, that kind of thing, but they feel pretty good about their leadership on the offensive line. Vattiato he is a natural born leader. If you have a chance to catch the weekly press conference, I'm pretty sure he'll be one of the participants on there. And just the way that he handles himself, very poised, that kind of thing. But he's an unusual story. We can talk about that in a minute. But in the offensive backfield, you've got the leading rusher returning, but you've got things that have been added to that. A back out of the transfer portal from Kansas State comes in that should add depth. Wide receiver core, you lose a really good one from a year ago. Jalen Lane went into the portal and went to Virginia Tech, but Middle has picked up receivers from North Carolina and South Florida that are both very interesting to go along with the returning receiving core. Defensively, you lose Jordan Ferguson, a defensive edge rusher who was the MVP of the Hawaii Bowl. He's now on the Seahawks roster, at least through today. And he was one of those guys that's going to be hard to replace. But the thing about Middle's defense, coordinated by Scott Schaefer, who's the former head coach at Syracuse, they have out of their two deep on defense, there's really only one guy that I didn't know. The other 7 have been guys who've either started or played starter snaps over time, and really one newcomer has cracked the 2 deep on the defensive front for now. But we'll see how that develops, obviously, as the season goes along. Linebackers, one to watch that Alabama fans will remember his dad, a young man named Drew Francis. His dad was Jeff Francis, former quarterback at Tennessee. And in the defensive backfield, you lost 2 guys, but you've got 2 others who are preseason all conference. So there is a good mix of a veteran core to go along with new guys who are either freshmen, JUCOs, or transfers out of the portal. And obviously when you look at the schedule and the non-conference schedule, Middle is no different than most group of 5 programs that you're going to play a game or two against a Power 5 early in the year. And I remember there was the one year, and I can't remember what year it was, whether it was 15 or 02, or that Middle started out at Alabama, at Tennessee, at Kentucky. And but this year it's at Alabama, at Missouri, then home for Murray State and Colorado State before we get into our conference schedule.
Here with Chip Walters, the voice of the Blue Raiders. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys watching as we talk about this week 1 matchup in the college football season down here in beautiful Tuscaloosa, as Middle Tennessee coming in with a lot of momentum from last year, going against the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the Tide team that kind of people, feel are laying in the weeds this year. A lot of people feel that, Nick Saban might have lost his fastball, and, this whole quarterback deal has, been kind of the headline of the college football world and whatnot. But
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. Thank you, Chip. And the thing was about this team is it was the coaches poll that still had them number 3, because the coaches understand it. I think there were some other polls out there that had Alabama 6 or whatever, and I get it. But, this is the first time, Chip, and I was telling my viewers this, go up to SEC Media Day, and they only had 1 player on first team SEC on the offense and only 2 on the defense and 2 on the special teams. Usually, it's kind of peppered with, 4 or 5 names, but look, Alabama, as you know, they continue to reload, and last year they lost a total of 2 games by a total of 4 points. Wow, right? Shocker. They've really fallen off. But I wanted to get your take on this matchup, and kind of from the Middle Tennessee side. They come in as, I just looked it up, a 39.5 point underdog. But one of the things that stood out to me with Rick Stockstill and one of his comments about this team in the preseason, it's a blue-collar mentality. The basketball coach, Nate Oates here at Alabama, says that about his basketball teams, like that blue-collar mentality. What is realistic from Middle Tennessee's perspective coming into this game? I think a lot of people, an interesting part of this is last year, Middle Tennessee beat number 25 Miami.
Beat the brakes off of them.
Thank you. And this is the thing that's interesting, is the defensive coordinator last year of Miami was who? Kevin Steele.
Kevin Steele, yeah.
And Kevin Steele's now at Alabama. The past doesn't equal the future. It is an interesting point. I mean, clearly this team is capable to punch above their weight, right?
Well, and always have been right there, because you look, in Middle's past when playing, Power 5 teams, obviously Miami went down last year. Missouri, the last time we played Missouri, beat them in Columbia, beat Georgia Tech, and have played, virtually everybody in the SEC, beaten Vanderbilt 3 times, all of that. So the thing that is, you don't, obviously the atmosphere coming to Bryant-Denny is going to be different than playing at Hard Rock last year. And that is all part of it. But, I think Middle has done this so many times and gone on the road that it's not to say that it's another game, because it's not, but it's also one of those things that doesn't really phase them on the outset. Obviously, the other guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage and the other team on the other side of the line of scrimmage can make things happen that, if you make a mistake, can make those mistakes snowball. And Alabama is obviously good enough to do that. So what you've got to do is you've got to don't really worry about what Alabama's doing. You have to worry about your own team, execute the very best you can, and see what happens down the line. Because, whether Middle comes in and wins the game, loses by a point, or loses by whatever, it's not going to affect anything as far as their race in Conference USA, because that's where, that's where their bread is buttered when it comes to postseason play. And Middle has been in the postseason 9 out of the last 11 years, and they've got a 2-game bowl winning streak going on right now. And both have, in the interesting little point about that is both have been outside of the continental United States. 2 years ago, winning in the Bahamas, and last year winning in Honolulu. Not bad destinations by any stretch.
Here with Chip Walters, voice of the Blue Raiders. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. We'll have content throughout the week on this matchup taking place on Saturday, September 2nd, 6:30. TV is SEC Network. Alabama favored by 35.5. Chip, when we look to this team, if we can just kind of focus on the offense, then the defense, then special teams. A lot of people forget about special teams. It's such a crucial point of any football team. And Alabama has a very good special teams. They actually return Will Reichert, as you know, the school's all-time leading scorer. What an asset to have coming back, for your arsenal. But when we look to kind of the strength of this offense, is it a balanced approach? Is there one particular area that's a little bit stronger? You mentioned the offensive line intact, and you mentioned the new quarterback coming back. But is it a balanced approach? I noticed last year there was a couple games where the quarterback fared pretty well, particularly against Miami. But what is this team's kind of strength, or is it a complete different mix-up this coming year?
Well, it is. It is an air raid style offense, but I think about in middle since Rick Stockstill has been here has played some version of the spread. But that does not mean that it's a throw every down.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to me, I think one of Coach Stock's best teams was the one that went down and beat Georgia Tech. And in that game, Benny Cunningham, who was a running back at middle, rushed for over 200 yards in that ball game. And that has been over time, over the 18 years he has been here, when you look at when middle has been at its best, is when not only are you throwing the ball around and using a lot of wide receivers, but when you also have a running game that can be trusted and that can be counted on to keep the defense honest. And the starting running back is going to be Frank Peasant, and it's not like he's not going to be the pound and ground kind of guy. He is a guy that can catch it out of the backfield, but he also can sit there out of an I formation and run it as well. He's from down in Pensacola, went to Escambia High School there, and which has produced a few pretty good running backs like Emmitt Smith. But he represents the offense in that he is a blue collar type player. The quarterback, Nick Vattiato, who we talked about, he is 2 years ago during the 21 season, he was being redshirted as a true freshman. And with 5 games remaining, the starting quarterback, Chase Cunningham, went out with a season-ending injury. So they reluctantly but called on Nick to start the remaining 5 games of the year. He ended up being the MVP of the Bahamas Bowl. So in an interesting turn of events, Cunningham has surgery, comes back last year. He is a 5th year, 6th year, 7th year senior as we have these days. He comes back. He's healthy. Coach Stock sits Nick down and says, "Hey, you did us a solid a year ago. I want to do a solid for you and try to get your year back," which, as we all know, they can now play in 4 games and still keep that year. Well, they bring back Chase Cunningham, and Chase plays the entire season. Nick comes in a couple of times in a backup role. And so Chase graduates. Now Nick is the heir apparent. You also have a quarterback named DJ Riles, who you may see him on the field with Vattiato. We saw it several times last year with Chase. He's just got a specific skill set. He's a good runner. They've even put him in at running back. They've put him in the slot. So he is a very versatile type guy. And then you have a young man named Kyle Lowe, who he is from West Tennessee, and he redshirted a year ago, so he's just now coming into his redshirt freshman season. And then there's a really interesting guy by the name of Ren Heffley. Ren, he was from Little Rock, signed with Michigan, redshirted there, transferred to Presbyterian, and played for that coach who never punted, went for it on, onside kick. That guy, from who was from, I think, Pulaski Academy or whatever over in Arkansas. Well, anyway, Ren starts and puts up all these crazy numbers, and then that coach gets let go. He went to Northeast or Northwest Mississippi Junior College, did the same thing with just wild numbers. And so now he graduated from there, came to Middle, and he's kind of a little bit of an X factor in what they want to try to do with him. So looking at that, that's where the quarterback situation is. There's some very interesting depth along the offensive line. You've got 4 starters that returned from a year ago. At wideout, DJ England Chisholm is the guy. If you saw the Miami highlights, he's the guy that caught the 98-yard touchdown pass and just left everybody in the dust. But you're seeing guys who've quickly come along. Jacob Coleman, Holden Willis, Jeremy Tate. Jeremy Tate is a big target, played at Memphis, transferred here. So, offensively, there's a lot of guys who've taken a lot of snaps as well. And so it's going to be interesting to see how all that works out. They got an offensive line transfer from FIU who had been the starting center at FIU, and now he's going to start at a guard position here at Middle. So offensively, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Mitch Stewart, the offensive coordinator, he is a very lively and entertaining guy to talk to. And because of that, does a great job of keeping their attention. Brent Stockstill, Coach Rick Stockstill's son, holds almost every passing record at Middle. He's now the quarterback coach, and after being wide receiver coach. So, and there's those guys are all locked in. So that's kind of it in a nutshell on the offensive side. Really waiting to see in a game situation how the transfer receivers, one from, as I mentioned, South Florida, one from North Carolina, how they come in and bolster what's already there.
And I think a lot of fans are interested to see Alabama's secondary get tested in week 1 from the air raid, considering that week 2 will present enough challenges with Texas, right? And all the weapons that they return, along with Quinn Ewers and, the multiple receivers and the tight ends that they return. Everyone remembers the game last year, but Texas should be even better considering the amount of talent that they returned this year. And when you look to last season, Tennessee, they split the field. I mean, sideline to sideline with their wide receivers. And everybody remembers, Jalen Hyatt catching, 4 or 5 touchdowns against Alabama in that thrilling game up in Knoxville, Tennessee. And, of course, LSU, they were able to throw the ball. So Alabama's secondary, very versatile. There are some new names there, but kind of like Middle, you do return some guys with some experience. Dallas Turner should be a top 5 pick, edge rusher. Actually not too far behind William Anderson, which is crazy, like talent-wise. And then you have Kool-Aid. That's got to be a fun name for you to say. Kool-Aid JaQuincy McKinstry, one of the best names in all of college. I know. He has an NIL deal with Kool-Aid, like literally like the Kool-Aid, which is great. And he's so dangerous on special teams. I think his first team at punt return, I mean, he's on the verge of breaking a punt every single time he catches it. And he's an outstanding cornerback. Should definitely be a first-round guy as well. Talking about Middle.
Real quick, while you're talking about punt returns, Middle is they are figuring out who their punter is going to be. Kyle Ulbrich was an all-conference guy a year ago who was – he was a punter that was used as a weapon. I mean, the numbers of punts he put inside the 5 or inside the 10 and inside the 5 was unbelievable. Now they're going to have to be a little bit vanilla in their punt schemes and try to get these 2 young guys that are battling for it to see how that goes. So you don't want the Kool-Aid man coming through the wall going, hey, like back in the old TV commercials for sure. Yeah. I would say, in my opinion, I think the punt game for Middle should be a game of keep away from him.
Yeah, and to counter that, Alabama's punter is actually from Australia, and James Burnip, who's Coach Saban has had a lot of positive praise about him during the fall camp. If you could tell me about the defense, look, Alabama's offensive tackles are towers. Caden Proctor, freshman, 6'7", 360. J.C. Latham, another first-round draft pick, 6'6", 360, up 30 pounds during fall camp, which is amazing because it's hard to – I can't believe you could add weight during that time.
It's hard to keep weight during fall camp. And just, in Tuscaloosa and in Murfreesboro both, it's just been brutally hot. And we finally got a break last night. We had a cold front come through that was on Saturday night. And so this week of preparation, the temperatures are supposed to be in the mid 80s. But yeah, I mean, it's a I don't know what with global. We certainly had global warming this last week for sure.
Do you feel that this defense they have? It sounds like they have a good amount of experience. I mean, you said 13 starters overall. 8 of those are on the offense. I know 5 on the defense. But kind of pepper us with some names, marquee guys to watch. I was noticing one of the stats that stood out to me when kind of doing some research on Middle was the fact that they have 76 takeaways over the last 3 seasons. It's a big number, and 20 interceptions last season.
Yeah, Middle. The last 2 years, 2 years ago, they were number 1 in Division I football, all of Division I in takeaways. Last year, they were number 2.
Yeah,
and Coach Scott Schaefer, the defensive coordinator, it's kind of worked into a little funny thing that he and I do on a weekly interview. I'll say, okay, Scott, what are your defensive keys to the game? And he'll go through, blah, 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 this, A, B, C. He goes, and basically get the damn ball back. And so that is, the key thing that he looks for. But it all starts with guys up front. I told you about Jordan Ferguson, who graduated. Just he was one of those guys that was just, almost too good to be true, kind of guys that just grew and grew throughout his career until his senior year when he was such a great leader. But Zaylen Wood, Marley Cook, Jacarius Wyatt, all 3 returning starters up front are guys that have been there, been through the wars. Richard Kinley, whose dad played at Middle, he's from down around Memphis, was injured last year, played just a few snaps. Quindarius Dunnigan was a true freshman last year, was Defensive Player of the Week in Conference USA after his performance at Colorado State. And then you've got Jordan Starling and Ralph Mincy, guys. So he just tries to rotate those guys. And that's where I was talking about where, you've got 3 starters back on the defensive line, but you've really got about 7 guys who have played starter type snaps. Linebacking position, I mentioned Drew Francis, Jeff Francis' son, Devin Curtis returns at middle linebacker. And then you've got Parker Hughes, Jalen Davis, a kid named Jalen Ram at one of the outside linebacker spots. And then in the defensive backfield, Teldrick Ross is probably the leader back there. And he is he plays one of the corner positions. Kid named Trey Fluellen, who transferred from Houston Baptist, which is now Houston Christian. He had a breakthrough year last year and brings experience back. And one kid that I was very proud of a year ago was a young man named Jacoby Thomas, who played as a freshman from Tullahoma, Tennessee. And he ended up making an interception that sealed a win at FIU that put Middle into locked down for sure a bowl game. So those are some of the guys in the secondary. James Shellman is another guy who we will be counting on. And then again, you've got the new kids on the block who'll be coming in and fighting for spots.
Here with Chip Walters, voice of the Blue Raiders. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's game week. College football finally in the air. We had a couple games take place this weekend, watching Sam Hartman throw it around against Navy. He looked really good. Notre Dame off to a really good start. My beloved New Mexico State Aggies, Chip. I went to New Mexico State. Yeah.
Boy, I did not see that coming last night.
You know what? Massachusetts, they had a pretty good offense. You know, I mean,
they had 15 portal guys, including 8 that came from Arizona.
Yeah,
all on the UMass team, and this will be our it'll be like Peaches and Herb. It'll be reunited as Middle and New Mexico State are going to be in the same conference for the second time. We were both together in the Sun Belt back 15 years ago.
Yeah,
but man, I love the trips when we, and I'm kind of alone in this. I love when we go to UTEP. I love when we go to New Mexico State, and it's just beautiful, but in a different way than we're used to in this part of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, I mean, you got to mention the food, of course, right? I mean, you're getting some of the best food that we have. So that was a good college football taste for the opening week. But we're talking about this Saturday's matchup between Alabama and Middle Tennessee. We'll have coverage all week long right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Head football coach of Middle Tennessee, Rick Stockstill, will be speaking to the media on Monday. So we'll coach Saban at 12 p.m. Central Time. We'll bring those to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Kind of in closing, Chip, when we look to this matchup, a lot of people, as mentioned in the opening, kind of looking to that week 2 game against Texas, rather. And look, Middle Tennessee, I'm curious to get coaches' comments tomorrow as well, because when you kind of look through this and this blue collar team, some of the momentum that they ended with last year, a new quarterback. I mean, clearly this team, you know, is well built with 13 starters, and I'm curious to get coaches' comments. Any kind of like final analysis about this team from fall camp in terms of like, you know, health. It seems like, you know, these guys are ready to open up the college football season.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood that they've come through fall camp pretty healthy, and you know, I think they've because school started a week later than normal, so it really gave them 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks to not have to worry about getting started with classes. Classes here start on Monday, but it was 3 weeks of just, you know, football 100%. We're going through $100 million renovation here, so their life was turned upside down a little bit because the locker room, the weight room kind of got moved around a little bit, but they're very adaptable. I don't think you're going to see a team come into Bryant-Denny that is wide-eyed or awesome because they've been in these type of environments before. Coach Stock and Coach Saban are very close. Coach Stockstill's daughter worked in the football office at Alabama when she was in school in Tuscaloosa. She graduated 3 or 4 years ago, so no secrets are being passed back and forth there. But the families are close, and you know, and I think, you know, it's going to be one of those things where Middle's going to be outmanned. They know that, and so I think that's when it comes down to the challenge of each guy and each unit trying to be the very best it can be. And that goes back to execution, limiting mistakes, because you can't go to Alabama and make mistakes and turn the ball over and expect to have any chance at all. And so that's why it's important for them to come in, stick to what they know. Don't try to do things you can't do and things you haven't practiced, and stay within yourselves and just play the game and see how it goes. And I know they're looking forward to it, because I mean, you can't look at your schedule and see Alabama, you know, all the way back to winter workouts and all that, and not have something like that to focus on.
In closing, Chip, one more. Fam, what's up? How's it going? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, August 27th, 2023. The college football season is here. We had a couple games taking place this past weekend. You guys saw Notre Dame taking on Navy. You guys watched my beloved New Mexico State Aggies take on UMass. Took the loss, but the program's still rising. Coming to you one more time from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Give me a Roll Tide. Give me a thumbs up inside the comment box. I really appreciate you guys being here. Call line is open. 205-850-1994 is the call line number. Coming to you one more time from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We made it, fam. We made it to the college football season. Love being here. Love what I do. I appreciate you guys being here. And it really means a lot that you guys are supporting the channel. So anytime you guys get in there, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Of course, super chats, tips, greatly appreciated. Alabama takes on. Let me get this set up for you guys. I appreciate you guys. And inside the comment box, hitting me up with the thumbs up really means a lot that you guys would show the support. Let me get this up for you guys one time.
This is Wesley from Kinston.
All right, Wesley, welcome to the show.
Hey. But yeah, so after listening to him, I would put my confidence. I asked. So originally, I asked, what was your confidence level in us actually covering the spread after talking to him?
Yeah, so
I just got to listening to the whole thing. So
yeah, no, I got you. So the thing about it is, I don't think Alabama's going to cover the spread in this game because of the fact that I think Middle Tennessee. I learned that they can punch above their weight. They have 13 starters coming back. The fact that 8 of those guys are on offense, not too worried about the offense, but this is the one thing that really stands out to me when I was talking to Chip about this team is the fact that, they create a lot of turnovers. This was an interesting stat. Stay with me. Over the past 3 seasons, Middle Tennessee has created, how many turnovers was it? I think it was like some ridiculous number that they've had.
76. In the last 2 years?
Yes. And then I think they had like 20 or something like that, 20 interceptions last season. So considering that Alabama, theoretically doesn't have a quarterback yet, and they had 20 interceptions last season. Look, this team is blue collar. And look, Eric D's in the comment box, like 54-0, we ain't Miami. That's very true. And I get that. Another thing that was interesting was the fact that and we haven't really talked about that much, but the DC from Miami last year was Kevin Steele, and Chip was like, we ran right through Kevin Steele's defense. He didn't say Kevin Steele, he was very polite, and it was, but they did. So Miami beat Miami.
But that's who was coaching. So,
that's what I'm saying. So like Middle Tennessee did beat Miami. It is what it is, and Miami's 25, and just like Eric says in the comment box, you're not Miami, and I get it, you're not Miami. So I don't know. That's a lot. That's too many points for me. So I'm probably taking under. What's your take, Wes?
So I feel like I'm feeling maybe like a 50-50 on that. Like, I know that's kind of, easiest pick cop out, but I don't know. I see them being, like you said, they're all pretty much experienced. It's going to be one of those deals where we play an experienced time. We should be able to pull away from them. But then if we have any sloppy play, it'll be a 10-point game at halftime, and then we have to fight for it to be close to 30.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I mean, so in talking with him too, you guys understand that like Middle Tennessee runs the air raid style offense. So they're going to split the field really wide. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to get those corners some experience, right? The safeties experience. You're looking at Caleb Downs, who's a freshman. Game is going to be much faster, even against Middle Tennessee when the lights hit and we get the game started. So I think it's good preparation for Alabama to get some work in terms of the secondary specifically and some pass rush going into that Week 2 Texas game. But they're going to throw the ball over the field, and they got a new quarterback. So that's kind of an opportunity for Alabama to chase him down. Nick Vattiato takes over. So, and I guess their offensive line is pretty healthy and a little bit seasoned.
Well, I feel like it'll fall right into the hands of our running game, though. If they got such a good pass defense, they're fixing to have to figure out how good their run defense is, because we're fixing to see how good we can run the ball against Middle Tennessee State. That's how I feel about it. I feel like we're fixing to get a good warm-up on the running game on Middle Tennessee State, just for that. So.
Yeah. Anything else that you got, Wes, while you're on the show?
No, sir, man. That was it. I was just wanting to hear what your take was on your confidence level on that.
Yeah.
Covering the spread.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And
man.
Roll Tide to you, man. All right. Wes is out. New call-in line is open, 205-850-1994. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. New user is Clinton Howard. Appreciate it. You can hit the join button underneath this video to become a member of our YouTube channel. Basically a fan funder. Really appreciate it. Same thing with Danko Hawkins, who's been a member for 28 months right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Hello and thanks. DraftKings, download the app ASAP. Roll Tide the process. Jalen Milroe, let's go. Thank you. Hey, Danko, thank you very much for being a Bama fan funder right here on our YouTube channel. Next up, we got 613, and we'll take it right now. Hey, thanks for being patient, man. I appreciate it. Who I'm on the line with and where you calling in from?
Hey, it's Steve. I'm calling from Forest Mills, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, my goodness, man. We're going across the border for this show. Thanks for calling from our friendly neighbor up top. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was just wondering, I was watching you guys here on the internet, and I was wondering about that Ty Simpson. When can he be eligible for the NFL draft?
Ty Simpson?
Yeah, Ty Simpson there, number 15.
Yeah, so you got another season that he can be eligible. So basically, after this season. So, I mean, I don't know, like, in terms of, like, where he fits in terms of, like, the NFL model, because, you know, clearly we're kind of waiting to see what he brings to the table this year. But the thing that I like about Ty Simpson is the fact that he's from a pedigree. Like, his father coaches at UT Martin. You know, he's a Division I coach, and you know, I think that's, you know, they open this coming weekend as well. So he understands the game. And like I said earlier in the season, I think he throws a great ball. I think he has a lot of athleticism. So, Ty Simpson capable to lead this team, and probably, you know, at some point, I mean, the thing about it with the NFL is there's so many quarterbacks that you can't really tell where they're going to project at. Look at, for the example, like the 49ers, first round draft pick, Trey Lance, he can't play, but it's Brock Purdy who's our guy now. So I never really, you know, I'm not a quarterback guru by any means, but I mean, you just never know when these guys are really going to take off. What else you got? And was it Steve from Canada?
Yeah, Steve from Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because, like, I followed a bit Mac Jones there when he played for Alabama, and then he dropped to 15th with New England Patriots got him. And I was surprised he fell to the Patriots, because I didn't think he'd get out of the top 10, to be honest with you. But a lot of people on the scouts, you know, the different call-in shows and whatnot, were saying the Patriots may get him. But anyway, I know he had a tough season last year, but you know, he'll probably bounce back this year, I'm thinking.
The thing about Mac Jones, and we were talking about this, our guys, Sean and Coach Smook, were just talking about this recently, about Mac Jones and when Bryce Young came in. It was interesting because nobody wanted Mac Jones to play here at Alabama. They were kind of judging his success from the past season and the small opportunities that we saw of him before he took over for that COVID year. And he came in and completely balled out. I mean, they won a national title under Mac Jones. He had a high efficiency rating of 77%. I wanted the 49ers to draft him above Trey Lance. I mean, I wish they would have now in hindsight. He's been dependable. He's been durable. He's very intelligent. I think that it's going to be interesting to see where he does, you know, what he does for the Patriots this coming season with all the Alabama quarterbacks now starting. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Bryce Young, Mac Jones. It's amazing to see kind of the quarterbacks going out from Alabama to the NFL.
I know there's a growing list of them, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got, Steve, while you're on the show?
No, that's about it. We'll just be watching north of the border here and cheering for the Tide, Roll Tide.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for calling in from Canada. That's Steve calling from Ontario. Thank you very much, man. Please call again. We got an 850 and a 251 inside the comment box. There's a call-in line open, 205-850-1994 is the call-in line number. I appreciate you guys calling tonight. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Alabama takes on Middle Tennessee. Alabama is nearly a 40-point favorite. Game is at 6:30 p.m. TV, SEC Network. You guys had an opportunity to get some college football in this past Saturday. What did you guys think about Notre Dame? Let me know inside the comment box. Notre Dame for real this year, or is it the same Notre Dame that we're always accustomed to, right? They always start out so hot. I will say this. I've been big on Sam Hartman since he was at Wake Forest. I think he's a good quarterback. You know, the thing with Notre Dame is I just think they're just still not quite playoff material. There's been a lot of people that feel that Notre Dame could make the playoffs. I've seen some projections that have the Fighting Irish in there. Look, the last couple times they've played Alabama, it just hasn't really been much of a matchup, in my opinion. I mean, Alabama has always outflanked them. They have the better athletes. It's just like, I get it. I mean, they're definitely a top 10 team, but are they a playoff team? I'm still not buying it. Not necessarily buying that stock. I think kind of they remain where they are at. And again, it is Navy. 850, we start right now. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. This is Tristan from St. George Island, Florida.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We go from Canada all the way to Florida. I love it. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I think Tommy Rees, he's going to change the scheme from game 1 to game 2. So, I don't think when Alabama comes out against Middle Tennessee, I do believe Jalen Hurts will start the game.
Jalen Milroe.
I think maybe when they start to play Texas and, Texas goes into Bryant-Denny during week 2, I think we're going to see more of I think they're really going to try to utilize Jalen Milroe's legs. They might not, I don't think they want to show that in the first game. And I think maybe it's more important to analyze the scheme that Alabama comes out with instead of, the quarterback battle. We've beat it like a dead horse, but, maybe our focus should be on the scheme and pay attention to that, because if Jalen Milroe is going to be the starter for the remainder of the season and for, the future ahead, I think they're going to go back to that sort of Blake Sims, Jalen Hurts style of play. What do you think?
Look, I brought this up a couple times. This is one of the best sound bites for me, and it's kind of like an underrated sound bite, was that Coach Saban said, "I don't care about stats." It means like he cares about winning the football game, and I think that's kind of a silent way of saying, look, you can look at the game against Texas A&M, you can look at the game against Arkansas. We won those 2 games. Jalen Milroe is a 2-0 as a quarterback at the University of Alabama. But the thing is, if we always judge quarterbacks by how they played in the past, they wouldn't start in present day. And that's kind of like our last caller from Canada was talking about with Mac Jones. Nobody wanted Mac Jones to start until he started just balling out of control. Coach Saban, clearly, and look, this is really important for everybody listening. Write this down right now. Every single Monday at 11:55 a.m. Central Time, there is a depth chart dropped on our media table, and it reads out the depth chart. From what I understand, that's not going to be the case tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get a depth chart. So what does that mean? Who knows?
Saban would be upset if you don't talk about a depth chart now.
Yeah, but we're not getting one. From what I understand, like, we're not getting one. I think it's like, this is kind of the thing that pisses me off though a little bit, is like, I think I'm just saying this. Look, I don't think that they're going to pass out a depth chart, because now they are afraid of like feelings, right? Because players can now be like, oh, I'm not a starter, I'm out, right? And it didn't always used to be that way. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm kind of assuming stuff we're not supposed to assume, but like, put out the depth chart. Be like, look, this is the guy who won the position in fall camp, and that's it. But that's fall camp. You didn't win the position in week 1 or 2, so there's a new depth chart. But, I get it. There's always, going to be depth chart controversy, and I can see how that can create something in the locker room. But, I mean, whatever the case is. But getting back to what you said, plain and simple, you need a quarterback that is, I don't want a game manager. I just want somebody who's able to come in, win over the locker room, and go with whatever Tommy Rees has offensively. You're going to have so many weapons. Get the ball to the weapons. I felt like Bill O'Brien, he was too vanilla. He didn't utilize Bryce enough. I mean, I cannot believe that this team did not win a national title under Bill O'Brien. I think that'll go down as like one of the things that you just can't wrap your head around. There's so many weapons on this year's squad. I hope these guys really show up, and I hope they can catch the ball. And I think Milroe's, going to take the first snaps against Middle Tennessee. But as Coach Saban said, just because who takes snaps in the first game doesn't mean that they're ultimate starter going forward. What else you got, Tristan?
I guess one more question would be, we always talk about inside linebacker, and I know Tresman Marshall has made some strides in the fall, but I mean, who are those guys starting there? But more importantly, who are those guys going to be? Who are those guys who are going to back us up late in the game when the team is getting tired? I'm not necessarily talking about Lawson or Tresman Marshall, but who are the guys that are going to come in late in a game to sustain the team in order to get a win? Not necessarily the big names that start, but the guys behind, especially there an outside and inside linebacker. Who do you think those guys are going to be?
I think probably Kendrick Blackshire. We're probably going to finally get an opportunity to see him in some, I don't know if what's meaningful. I think getting on the field is meaningful, but we'll start to see more of him, I would assume. I think Jahad Campbell is going to be a guy that continues to rotate at the inside linebacker spot. I don't know if there's a 1 or a 2 between him and Tresman Marshall at inside linebacker. I would say Sean Murphy is another guy to watch. I've been really high on him for a while. So I think those guys are going to provide that depth. Justice Jefferson is probably another guy at the inside linebacker spot. You got some depth. It's just you don't have a lot of guys that have played a lot of meaningful reps, but that doesn't mean that they're not quality guys. I mean, Deontay Lawson, Tresman Marshall, those are guys. So is Jahad Campbell. So within those three right there, that first team unit inside linebacker, very solid. And this is another thing to keep in mind. Just because Alabama, let's say Alabama gets up by 4 touchdowns or something like that, that doesn't mean you just sub out the first team. I kind of always thought that would be the case at Alabama, but Coach Saban has always mentioned you want these guys to be 4-quarter ready. Think that game against Texas is going to be decided by halftime? I don't think so. By the way, I saw people starting to say that Texas is going to win that game by 10 points, right? It's like, I can not imagine Alabama losing. I can see them being beat by Texas, sure, but like 10 points at home. When's the last time that happened? I don't know. Tristan, go ahead, man.
We want everybody to keep saying that. We want the doubt. We love it. So.
Yeah, right. You got to continue to lay in the weeds. Hey, Tristan, thank you very much for calling in, man. Calling again next time. I appreciate the call from Florida.
Thank you, Kyle. Love the show, man.
I appreciate you, man. We got a 201 and a 706 in the call queue. Call-in line now open. 205-850-1994 is the call-in line number. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tomorrow will be Monday, August 28th. You got Coach Saban. You got Rick Stockstill speaking to the media regarding Alabama taking on Middle Tennessee. Alabama nearly a 40-point favorite in that game, taking place Saturday, September 2nd, 6:30. TV is SEC Network. We will go to phone lines and we'll go to our 201 right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Adam calling in from Milledgeville, Georgia. How you doing?
I appreciate it. Thanks, Adam, for the call tonight. Hope you had a great Sunday, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks. You too. I just had a couple concerns I wanted your thoughts on. Number one, I'm still not sold on Milroe, and if he's the number one, if he's the starter, I'm also concerned the backups may not be, quite frankly, that good. My second concern is a defensive line. I mean, I remember like the 2016 team when we had Deron Payne, we had Jonathan Allen. I just worry that we don't have the same studs that we had like on those teams. And the last thing I'd say is I just felt like in the last few years, the team didn't have the same hunger or the same drive that I saw in teams like the 2016 team. And I'm wondering if you think we're going to get that back this year and if it's going to get us back to the national championship.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in, Adam from Georgia. First thing about the quarterback, Saban might just be playing, his cards close to the vest, which, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think in the world of college football, like it's so different from the NFL where you have to produce a depth chart. And I think at some point Alabama does have to produce like a legitimate depth chart. But with the quarterback, I think he's continued to say the message that he wants these guys to work for that position. And quite frankly, I kind of believe him. I think he wants a quarterback to force them to play him and force them to continue to play him. I really do. I think Saban's kind of on a mission at the quarterback position. And this is, we really haven't seen this before with the quarterback position. So it makes it so interesting to continue to track. And I think every single throw, every single snap by Jalen Milroe on Saturday will be under the microscope, right? And they're going to give him an opportunity to go out there and continue to win this team over, to win the game and all of that. Ty's going to come off the bench. Will we see Tyler Buckner? I have no idea, but I think you definitely see two quarterbacks. Regarding the defensive line, I'm hopeful that the defensive line comes in with a mentality to stuff the run, and somebody needs to be big and nasty in there. And I think it'll be Jaheim Otis. I was really excited to hear about Tim Keenan's progress. He's the Birmingham product, to see how he's kind of transformed his body. And I think that's really good to hear. Justin Ebogbe, I have high hopes for him. I've been high on Justin Ebogbe for quite some time. And now that he's healthy, he's played, and I've said this a bunch of times, he's played in like 42 games or something like that. And then there's some other guys behind it, like a Monkel Goodwine. It was good to see some of those guys get in the rotation. But yeah, you're right. Like, we need to see kind of that nastiness within the defensive line, and that kind of spills over into your the third thing you talked about is the mentality of this team. I mean, listening to Coach Smook and Sean from Huntsville the other day when I had kind of the coach podcast, which was, by the way, fantastic. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Talked about that mentality. Like, when people ran out of the tunnel against Alabama, like, they were frightened. They used to have that fear in their eye. They were like, oof, this is going to be ugly for 4 quarters. We're going to want to quit, right? Like, that mentality. But now you start to look at, like, does that mentality exist anymore? And I don't necessarily think so among like big Power 5 programs, because Tennessee, LSU, probably Notre Dame, Georgia, all these schools feel that they can play with Alabama. Texas, right? You see, when was the last time you felt like so many of these programs saying, kind of barking that they could play at the level of Alabama? So I don't know if that mentality still exists, but if you want to kind of reiterate that to college football, there's an easy way to do it. Go drop the hammer on Middle Tennessee, and then most importantly, drop the hammer on Texas. No, can you imagine if Alabama completely throttles Texas? Texas would honestly never but their schedule does line up well. So Texas could still get throttled in that game and then kind of like make a rebound. But you want to make some noise, Alabama, like drop the hammer on Texas and shut them up. Like, that would be incredible for the world of college football. And I think if Alabama it blows out Texas, I think people would quickly have that respect back for Alabama.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just, I look back last year to that Tennessee game, and I think when one of the players, I think it was Will Anderson, said, look, we were a little bit anxious before the game and all those penalties. And I think that wasn't kind of the Bama standard. I'm just, I think we can win the national championship this year. But when I look back to that game, it's like, I hope it's different this year, because I think we have the talent and the drive, man. But Roll Tide, thanks for taking my call, and have a great night. Yeah,
you too, Adam. Thanks for the call from Georgia. I guess that's behind enemy lines now, right? You got 706, a 502, and a call-in line is now opened up. 205-850-1994 is the call-in line number. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. 407, thanks for 470. Thanks for joining us. We will join our next call. We'll take it right now. It's a 706. Hey, you're on the call line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's your brother, Coach Smook, man. How's it going today, Roll Tide,
Hey,
bro?
Smook, I need to get you the hotline, man, so you can just call and sneak ahead of the line.
Nah, bro. I like talking with the chat, man.
See,
then,
they
kind of talked me up tonight.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, a couple of things. Number one, the call-in line doesn't stop. So, like, if you hear the busy signal, that means that like the call-in line is full. I actually have to pay for the call-in line. So, like, if I had 8 lines, I got to pay for the 8 lines while everybody's waiting. So it's like it comes down to like a financial thing. So, sponsors, if you're out there, if you want to sponsor the Kyle Henderson call-in line, sponsor the show.
Yeah, come on, y'all.
But the other thing
YouTube,
was
we wait for sponsors.
Thank you. The other thing is, Coach Smook, you and Sean the other day, and it was impromptu. When I didn't even ask these guys, like, I didn't write anything down. I was like, okay, the audio sounds good, Smook. The audio sounds good, Sean. Let's get it on. And these guys produce a 45-minute podcast that banged. It had a great perspective. So thank you very much. We're happy to have you part of the Bama Football on YouTube family this season, man. So as we turn towards week 1 of the college football season, Coach, what's on your mind as, we're just, less than 24 hours away from Coach Saban hitting the podium at 12?
I mean, I'm just like most of our fan base, man. Well, I'm not gonna say that, because I'm not questioning the quarterback situation anymore. I'm not questioning the offensive line situation anymore. I feel like if there's been this much competition to this point in the fall camp, I think that's only one thing. That says only one thing. When you don't have a definitive answer for who's going to be your guy in key spots, that means you have some good competition, especially at Alabama. This isn't a situation where we have, like Kentucky had, 4 years ago when they had a quarterback taking reps, a wide receiver taking reps in spring game because they're trying to allow their quarterbacks in the offense to grow. So you got to throw in these extra, wrinkles that can be beneficial. But when you talk about helping your team develop and grow, you don't want to continue to throw in wrinkles to suffice because your quarterback room isn't grasping the offense. So I think it's a good testament that Tommy Rees and his quarterback room are on the same page to the point where there's some good competition. And I like the fact that Jalen Milroe has continued to improve and not regress, because if he's not doing anything to lose the job, that means he's either getting better or he's getting worse, and if he's getting worse, that means everybody else is getting worse. So I like to take the latter half. I think Alabama has shown us in the past that we can recruit quarterbacks. Look at literally recent history: Bryce Young, Mac Jones, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Blake Sims, Jake Coker. Jake Coker was a transfer that Saban went out and got and had to sit for a year, but he went out and got him. He opened up that opportunity for guys to come in and compete, and we just have to trust history and look at the facts. The more competition you create in the room, the better. I feel like last year we just got stuck on personnel groupings. Coach Golden and Coach O'Brien had their personnel groupings that they liked. And so that's what they schemed around, personnel groupings, guys that they like to see on the field. And I don't see that happening this year. So we can be more confident in the fact that there are still a lot of questions and a lot of competition in these position groups. But don't fear, y'all. Y'all got to remember Alabama, and I listen to a lot of podcasts and statistics that get put out about recruiting and just expectations and things of this nature. But this year, Alabama will be fielding their number one recruiting class from 3 years ago. They'll be the juniors and the seniors from this year come from a number 2 recruiting class. And then you have your second string and third string guys who are all 5-star, top 5 rated, top 10 rated guys in their class. And I think it was on the show, Kyle, when we made the statement, and I had to go back and fact check. But if you go and look at our starting lineup right now, the projected starting lineup, everybody on that starting lineup on the offensive and defensive side was either rated 4-star or higher, and they were the top 10 in their position for their recruiting class. Everybody on the field. You're not going to get that against Texas. You're not going to get that against Middle Tennessee State. You're not going to get that against Ole Miss. You're not going to get that against too many teams in the conference. Maybe LSU, who was competing in recruiting. That was like the year after Ed O took over, and they started making some waves in recruiting. And Kelly has got down there and hasn't slowed down. So we won't have too many teams that can match up with us talent-wise. And schematically, historically, Kevin Steele is a genius. So the comment in the chat about Kevin Steele folding at Miami, you guys wouldn't understand. I don't think anybody could go in and put out their dumpster fire in Miami. Any school that doesn't have their own home field as a major university, that doesn't have their own university, I can't take them serious as a football program. You got to understand, when Coach Saban, guys like Coach Saban and Coach Smart and Coach Kelly come into programs, they only come into programs when they're able to have that type of control to really implement a plan into the program, into the university, and watch it grow. So I don't see Kevin Steele struggling with the amount of talent he has available. And I heard another caller talk about the D line. Since we're talking about defense, the defense, man, if anything, I would be scared that we don't play enough guys, because Jaheim Otis, Aboigbe, Smith, Keenan, Latham, and James Smith, those guys are it's about to get real hectic in a Kevin Steele called type defense. You guys got to remember, D Brown, Marlon, what was the guy named? Marlon at Auburn? I can't remember his name. Was he a defensive tackle that was under Steele? He shined in the defense with no names because of the Kevin Steele scheme. You got a guy like Jaheim Otis with same caliber of talent, same caliber of output. He showed that as a true freshman. And you got experience on the side of him, Smith and Tim Smith and Boyd right there next to him. I mean, those guys are big bodies that can create a lot of havoc. You talking about in the trenches. And if you allow those guys to get reckless and just use strength and be athletes, that's what creates the place for the linebackers to do what linebackers do and highlight what they're, made to do, which is get after the quarterback, your edges. And then you allow your middle linebackers to play freely and fill holes when they need it or drop back in coverage when they need it. So it's one of those things, man, I think it's a whole mentality shift of the locker room, and we're going to get to see it week 1. I put my scoring prediction down in the chat. I gave us a 52-6, type of game because I know Middle Tennessee is not. I don't know why people think Middle Tennessee is like an FCS school. Middle Tennessee competes in their conference every year. Sure. They have 2 years of competition where they compete and then they're down for a year. But 52-6 Bama, and I think we really make a statement this year. I mean, this first game with our defense, even though it's Middle Tennessee State, we won't see the miscues. We won't see the broken coverages. I think the 6 points they're going to earn are literally going to be earned. And it might be an early one, knocking the rust off. They might get to the 30-yard line and we stiffen up and force them to kick a field goal. And then we won't see them do that again until the fourth quarter when our second string is. So that's why I give them 6 points. But I do see our offense being efficient, especially in the run game. And I see the surprise take. I see the defense scoring 2 times. Defense scoring and the special team scoring. So, punt return and a defensive score. So I see that happening this week 1 or 2. Big plays. Just giving us a full, I guess you could say sample of everything that Alabama's going to continue to grow and build on for the rest of this season.
Coach Smook, I appreciate the caller, man. You make some great points. I'm going to hit on one of those as I take the next caller, man. But we will catch Coach Smook and Coach Sean on Monday night quarterback. That's your squad this season. So Monday night quarterback will be hosted by Coach Smook and Coach Sean. You can catch them tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That's your Monday night quarterback squad for this season. Hit the thumbs up in the comment box. Coach Smook, you break it down. I love it. Everybody does too, man. So
roll tide, bro.
Yeah, we'll catch you up on Monday night, man. Appreciate the calling from up top in VA.
Yes, sir. Much love. Roll tide, chat. Roll tide, everybody.
Coach Smook breaking it down. 502 and a 407. I'll be right with you. Hang on tight. Appreciate you guys being patient. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much for joining us. Week 1 of the college football season works like this here on Bama Football on YouTube. Tomorrow we'll do a replay of this show. I'll piece everything together nice and clean so you guys can rewatch it, have something to listen to while you're at work. Starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. That'll go into Coach Rick Stockstill to his press conference at 10:30. We'll get that to you here on Bama Football on YouTube. And then the head man of the organization, Alabama, Nick Saban, will speak to the media into really college football in general at 12 p.m. Central Time. We got player interviews tomorrow as well. We got Seth Run the Damn Ball McLaughlin up at the podium, so that should be a pretty good interview as well. I'll be coming to you periodically with more reports and everything like that related to Alabama. And then we will also have a show on Wednesday night following Coach Saban's press conference. So shows all the time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. That's why I appreciate the support leading up to Alabama's first game of the season. 502, we start right now. Hey, Mike, thanks for being patient. Mike in Kentucky, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm getting good at the area codes. It's just like, I got them down. Mike, we might have to go. We might have to get you paired with someone from your own show on Bama Football on YouTube.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. I've done gone viral once. I can only stand so much contagion.
What's on your mind, Mike? Take it away, man.
I agree with Coach Swoop. I think the quarterback situation is settled, and there's, not much point talking about it anymore, but I don't think number 2 is settled. The way I look at the number 2 quarterback is you're a product of where you come from. And, Ty Simpson came from a conference that I'd be surprised if 6 guys got Power 5 D1 offers in the whole league. Okay. Tyler Buckner come from a conference playing big boy high school football out in California, playing teams like Mater Dei, Central Cena, LaSalle. We're talking schools where 300 kids a year go out to play football. I think Buckner's iron's been cast in a little bit hotter furnace. I think he's more up to speed on the speed of the game than Simpson. And I mean, Simpson I think he just needs another year. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I think he's going to need another year. I think he'll get on the field before Buckner, but I think when Buckner does get on the field, he'll show that this year he's a better quarterback than Simpson.
On the line with Mike from Kentucky. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was Coach Smook mentioned this about the special teams play. I'm going to go out. I'm not very good at like score predictions or whatever. Hey Danko, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Really appreciate your support. You're a member of the YouTube channel, which means you hit the join button at the bottom of the screen, and then he comes in with the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But games are hard to predict or whatever. You know what's really hard is over unders for actually like statistical performances. That's ridiculous. Like last year, Bryce Young, he would be like, will he run for more than 7 yards? And be like, absolutely. No, he won't. Because they equate, like if there's a quarterback sack, that equates in college football, right? But he did go crazy against, when they played Georgia, he ran for like, I don't know, whatever it was. But I will say that I'll wager to say that if they do kick to Kool-Aid, he is going to return a punt for a touchdown. Like, he's going to. I mean, the guy is electric returning punts. If he has an opportunity, I would take Kool-Aid with the punt return to the house. Regarding the quarterback, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm tired of talking about it. It's just like we've talked about it so much that there's really nothing else to say about it other than to see just how these quarterbacks compete. I believe in Ty Simpson, to be honest. You were just talking about him. And you're right. Like, he didn't come from the biggest program, but I did like his film, and I do like what he's working with. I think he has a lot of what Bryce Young has, and that's like kind of escapability. So when he gets opportunities, everyone's going to support him. And I think if he can get the football to the targets and they can catch the football, I think Ty Simpson honestly could lead this team if he is the guy, sometime down the road, whenever, his name is called. What else, Mike? When you look to this matchup, everyone wants to look to that week 2 matchup, but what else do you want to see from this team in week 1?
Well, I'll be sorely disappointed if our D-line just doesn't grind Middle Tennessee State into a fine powder. I mean, I'm really got high hopes for Otis this year. I mean, I watched some of his, that kid caught my attention in his junior year in high school. He was a little dinged up his senior year. But if you go back and look at some of his film his junior season, when that boy's well, he's hell. And I hope he returns to form. I got big hopes for him this year. He may be our Deron Payne type player that, that's going to command a double team block, and that helps the linebackers. And, to me, there's no such thing as a lockdown corner. There's not. If you give a guy 3.5 seconds to throw the ball, he's going to find something. So, I think it's up to the D-line, to get us through to the offense, gets their footing this year. I'm just looking for the D-line to just absolutely obliterate them. If they don't, I'm going to be a little worried going into the Texas game. That's all I got, Kyle. Roll dadgum Tide. Everybody have a good evening.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Mike. I appreciate the call from Kentucky. Kyle Henderson and Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We got a 470, a 903, and now a 904 inside the comment box or inside the call queue. I will get to those. I will take the 470 in just a second. So Monday night, we also have Coach Smook and Big Sean leading Monday night quarterback. So definitely notate that because I want you guys to be here to support them. And I might as well tell you guys now, they are actually going to lead the post-game show once every single Alabama football game ends. So as soon as the game ends, this coming Saturday, hit the subscribe button, tune into Bama Football on YouTube as Coach Sean and Coach Smook will be the post-game show until I get to an area where I can take your call. So they're going to lead the show, break it down from a coach perspective, and then I will take your calls on the follow-up once I have Coach Saban and everything taken care of. So I really appreciate, those guys stepping up to, help add value to the channel this season. 470, we come in right now.
Hey, this is Andrew from Douglasville, Georgia.
Yeah, I appreciate you being patient, by the way, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm sick and tired of people dogging on Alabama. I still go to high school here in Georgia, and I have to go to school with all my Georgia fans keep dogging on Alabama. Oh, Alabama sucks. Oh, Alabama's lost his touch. Oh, Nick Saban, he don't got it no. Well, I'm sick and tired of that. So do you think this season Alabama is going to show that we're the best, that we are the best, and why we are the best? I mean, come on. I mean, we steamrolled over Kansas State. I mean, we've won the Iron Bowl easily. We got all this talent. I don't see why we shouldn't make the national championship. I mean, we got so much talent. I mean, we got new coaching. I mean, it should not be that hard. And I mean, come on, if we can't beat Middle Tennessee by at least 50 points, and they shouldn't even get a touchdown or field goal. I mean, come on. We need to show these guys off the bat that we're Alabama and why we're the best. I mean, Nick Saban, when he came to Alabama, was like, my motto is I want guys to hate playing us. I want every team we play to be like, I hate playing these guys because these guys are so good. I mean, people are not afraid to play Alabama anymore. Like you said, I mean, we went into Texas, and I know Texas is a hard place to play, but they almost beat us. And Tennessee, now Tennessee has off to Tennessee. It's a toxic environment, but come on. The penalties, I mean, I think that pass interference call was bullcrap. I think that was a clean play. But because, we got called on a penalty yet again, it cost us the ball game because our guys had no discipline. And then I think it was that A&M game. Toho, sorry. He got that stupid penalty again for doing something. He shoved that player down for no reason. I mean, just undisciplined. What is going on? I mean, why can't Alabama, all this talent, why can't we get it together? Why are we not winning the national championship? I mean, we could be going on full national championships right now, but we haven't won. It's like 2020. It's ridiculous. So what's going on? Right now, but we haven't won. It's like 2020. It's ridiculous. So what's going on?
Hey, Adam, I think you started like looping or something like that. I'm gonna put you on mute so you can fix that before I get to you. Adam, well, we appreciate the super chat from Sick Jeep. Thank you very much for the 10 spot, man. Really appreciate the support. On the line with Andrew from Douglasville, Georgia. He's heated. He's saying that Alabama hasn't won a title. He's fed up with it. Thinks that, the mentality should be reestablished. And I get it. I get the frustration from, where Andrew's calling from. Andrew, I'll get you on next time. I think when you look to the talent standpoint, I mean, look, college football has changed. As soon as Georgia changed their offense, we saw Georgia finally be the Georgia that we knew they could be. Because before this, a couple seasons ago, they were just kind of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But now they're spinning the football out, more balanced approach. They're dangerous. They're here. The thing that I don't understand, and kind of to Andrew's point, is the thing that, like, people don't fear Alabama anymore. And that fear needs to be instilled in week one. I don't think Alabama is going to beat Middle Tennessee by 40 points, but he's right. Like, they absolutely should. Can you imagine Alabama comes out, drops the absolute hammer, reinstill that fear? Because Texas, they're playing Rice, and who knows what's going to happen in that game. But I guarantee you, I think one of Sark's messages is all gas, no brakes, which came from the great Inky Johnson, by the way. So, they're going to be putting the pedal on because they want that, those headlines, those college football headlines. Alabama comes out, does work against Middle Tennessee. Can you imagine if Alabama comes out? What are you going to do? Honestly, Alabama comes out under Jalen Milroe, and Milroe goes crazy, scores 6 touchdowns. Is everybody still going to be calling for another quarterback? Are they going to be supporting him? I think that's going to be the interesting talk after the game. I can see Milroe going crazy in this game, right? If they just let Milroe loose, just drop it out, there's no reason he shouldn't go crazy. We'll go to our next caller. It's a 903, and we'll start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Colton from Louisiana.
Colton, I appreciate you calling. You're over there with David behind enemy lines, man. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I was just calling to see what your input was, and I guess everybody else, man. We got lucky last year in that daggum Texas game where we're a missed call away from a safety. We had a missed tackle that I think it was one of the Texas corners came in, blitzed Bryce Young, and Bryce got lucky on a break tackle. Quinn Ewers, if he's in that game, man, they're probably going to beat us by 2 or 3 possessions, honestly. And now we're sitting there saying that we got calls coming in saying that we're going to dirt roll Texas. I think we need to get that crap out of our minds because we done lost Bryce Young, we done lost Will Anderson and all these players. I mean, the only kind of advantage I see that we got going on now going into this game is we're playing at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've brought that up before too. I mean, when you look at Alabama's schedule, it is favorable in the sense that, you know, most of the big games are in Tuscaloosa, right? Texas, LSU, Tennessee. I mean, you're on the road against Texas A&M and against Auburn, but everything else is here in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I've said this before. I agree with what you just said regarding if Quinn stays healthy in that game, Texas probably beats Alabama. There's a lot of people, I've said that before publicly, and people were like, that's not, you know, they don't agree with that. They feel that Alabama would have won that game. Look, I mean, the guy was doing work. I mean, so he's coming in, he's dropped 20 pounds, he's transformed his body. Wide receivers are coming in, NFL top wide receivers. It's a great opportunity for Alabama to really, you know, kind of grab a hold of that college football megaphone and say, look, we are here. We are still standing. I think the game right now is Alabama favored by 7 at home. But you're right. I mean, it does present an opportunity for Alabama to kind of make a name for themselves, I guess so, because people throwing, like Sean said, dirt on them, you know, early on. I mean, what do you want to see overall in week 1 from this team on offense and on defense? We're on with Colton from Louisiana.
So what I want to see from Jalen Milroe, I want to see a clear QB1. I don't want to see Nick come in and try to integrate, maybe play off all 3 quarterbacks. You know, I want to see one quarterback play. I don't want them to, you get the first half, you get the second half, you get the fourth quarter. I want to see a clear, defined QB1. Defensive-wise, Middle Tennessee, I mean, they really haven't showed anything ever. I don't think they've ever really, truly been relevant. So, I mean, yeah, who's to say that Jalen Milroe, if he doesn't come out, he should go for 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns.
Right. I mean, yeah, that like Bill O'Brien was frustrating to watch, kind of him working with Bryce Young, who has like so much talent. And I don't know, it just like the offense just felt like very vanilla. It just never really had any sort of a rhythm. Now, I will say this, and I think Andrew from Georgia brought this up. Tell me if you agree with this, Colton, that you're down there in Louisiana. I don't know if you were at the Sugar Bowl. I was. Alabama played their best game of the season during the Sugar Bowl. And I get it. Like last year doesn't spill over to this year, but it felt like that was a complete game by Alabama. Do you agree with that? Colton?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I had my phone on mute. That was definitely probably the most complete game of the year that we played because, I mean, Will Howard, he looked like a freaking the stud all year, and, you know, we had him for 2 INTs. Deuce Vaughn, of course, he just got drafted. He's given everybody problems since he's been in college, so he kind of did his thing. But as far as Bryce Young, I mean, defense did their thing. Will Anderson holding them down to 20 points. I mean, it's just a much better game than what we've seen throughout the rest of the year, I believe.
Jay Kelly inside the comment box saying, y'all can't blame Bob or Pete if you want, but we were soft at the line of scrimmage on both sides. That could very well be the case, too. I mean, I do, have more confidence in the offensive line this coming year. Like, for the first time, I'm pretty excited about Alabama's offensive line. I hope that they keep Ferguson at guard, but it seems like they've been kind of rotating Darian Dalcourt in there as well. But I like this setup. I like Proctor. I like Booker. I like McLaughlin. I like Ferg, and then I like clearly JC. Like that's a very formidable offensive line. Anything else that you got for us, Colton?
No, sir. That's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Roll Tide to you, Dan in beautiful Louisiana. We got a 904 and a 256. We'll take our 904. We'll just jump right into it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Edward. I'm calling from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, I appreciate the call from beautiful Jacksonville. Wish I could be over there. I've always wanted to go to Ponte Vedra. Maybe one of these days I get out there, play some golf. But for now, I'm in beautiful Tuscaloosa. We're talking Alabama, Middle Tennessee. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, man? Take it away.
I had a question about you keep looping the practice and where the guys are like hitting that pad that guy's holding,
Mm-hmm.
is they're like beating the hell out of that guy that's holding the pad. Is that Krav Maga Israeli defense thing that I read about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
I don't know. That's a really good question. If anyone else, Coach Smook or someone else inside the comment box could answer. It kind of looks like it. I do like this drill that they're doing. So what Edward is talking about, clearly you're seeing the looped footage of Alabama practice. Huts are working with the outside linebackers. Number 15 is Dallas Turner, and these guys are getting in some work. I don't know. I do like this drill. This is the only footage that we got of this particular drill. Number 41 right here. That's Chris Broswell. Edward, I'll get some detail on that regarding this drill and then follow up with you. But that's a really good question. What else you got for me?
Well, I was just going to say, I know that they were teaching it to the offensive line, and I know in the NFL they've been teaching it, and it's been around in the NFL for 5 or 6 years. And I was just wondering, because I've never seen it before, have we never done this before? I mean, we've never taught this before, so we're going to see this guy slugging beating the hell out of guys on the line all of a sudden.
I hope so. All right. You want them to be physical. But you know what? I did like Sal Sinceri, though, working with the outside linebackers. I mean, thought he did a really good job. I think Sal has some sort of other like off the field position with the crew. But I mean, maybe you'll see. Look, Dallas Turner needs to get to the quarterback more. He was my defensive fall camp MVP. I believe in him. I think if, like, I was talking to somebody who's very, very close to the program, they're saying he's not too far behind William Anderson in terms of like overall talent, which is mind bending because William Anderson was just the number 3 pick in the NFL. And you're saying the next edge rusher is right there. I mean, welcome to Alabama. Anything else, Edward, while we have you on the line?
No, I was just wondering if you think that we're going to see, I mean, we're going to obviously do the RPO stuff, but do you think, I mean, given who we have at quarterback, wouldn't it make sense to run that guy a lot? I mean, do you think he might have maybe 15 carries or so?
Yeah, I think that would be a great over-under if you were going to say, let me ask you inside the comment box. Let's see what everyone in the comment box has. Do you think that Jalen Milroe will rush the football more than 15 times or less than 15 times? And I'm saying not design runs, like he has attempts. Like when we look at the statistics, do you think that Jalen Milroe will have more than 15 rushes or less? I'm going to go ahead and say less, but it's going to be pretty close. I could think like 9 to 10, but I think they're going to be big runs. And I think people are saying less. Everyone's saying less. I said less as well. I do think you get to a point in the season, you get to a game where you're like, all right, Jalen, like you let him kind of go. You let him do his thing. If he is still the quarterback by, let's say, 2, 3, 4, you get in some of these big games, but everybody's saying less. I think that's a really good question and probably something that we can kind of monitor, going forward is kind of the rushing attempts by Jalen Milroe. But yeah, with a guy with that type of ability, I mean, let him do, what he's going to do with the football in hand.
Exactly. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Roll Tide to you. Call out from Jacksonville is Edward. Appreciate it. We got a 256 and a 337. We'll take our 256 right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Bootsy Henderson from Lake Gunnersville, Alabama. How you doing, Kyle?
Good. Can you repeat your name one more time, sir?
Bootsy, Bootzy Henderson from Lake Gunnersville, Alabama.
I always like to mention, thank you for the call tonight. I really appreciate it. And I always like to mention when I get a call from that area, I played Goose Pond this summer and fared pretty well. It was a good golf course, shot in the low 80s. I thought it was so beautiful. It was my first time up there. But for me, being from New Mexico, that was like an ocean. I've never seen a lake that big. But anyways, take it away. It's your show.
Well, I like your show very well. I just got into it this year. I'm a big Bama man. Almost big as Harvey Updike. Don't let me say it too loud, Kyle. But anyway, people ought to be glad we got Jalen Milroe. We didn't have him. We wouldn't win no national championship. They want one. If they want a national championship, they better be glad we got him because he's already if you need to know anything about football, you know, I coached 9 years here up in North Alabama, so I can tell you this right here. If you know anything about football, after this season, he should be a number 1 pick. Now, let me tell you something. Ty Simpson, fair kid, but, you know, you remember Tyler Watts? Well, we just, you know, we can't really have that down there right now. You know, we don't want to lose no games this year. And if everybody want to win, get on that Mill Road train, and we're going to roll up in here. And Texas ain't finna do nothing, Kyle. I mean, I hate to say it. You know, looking at just cause Sark was down here and learned a little bit from Nick. Don't let him think he's going to come in and beat the ball. So that's all I got to say. And roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you. Appreciate you calling in. That's Bootsy calling in from beautiful Lake Gunnersville. As I said, I went up there and honestly thought it was an ocean, right? I mean, it's such a beautiful area up there. Actually, I'll tell you the truth too. When I was going up there, I got pulled over. I didn't get a ticket, thankfully. It was my fault. I was going heavy on the gas. I was honest. I was like, look, driving a little fast this morning. I'm excited. It's up to play golf. So, you know, that's my Lake Gunnersville story. 337-251 and the 617 in the call queue. We'll take our 337. We'll start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
You know, it's your boy behind enemy lines, David.
What's up, David? I appreciate you calling in. We go from Lake Gunnersville all the way out to Louisiana tonight. David, you know, we made it to the college football season. What's on your mind as we turn the page to Middle Tennessee?
Well, I wouldn't mind. I'd love to load my boat up, hook it up on back of this old Dodge right here and drag it over there, Lake Gunnersville, and hopefully run into Gerald Swindle, one of the top fishermen to ever fish in the Pro Series and everything. I'd love to fish that lake. But other than that, I have a good feeling that we're going to be strong this year. I believe our secondary is going to be really, 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 really good. I think we're going to probably possibly end up leading the nation in interceptions. I don't know about as far as pick sixes, but I know we'll have really good turnover rate against the opposing team. But I don't know how many of y'all tuned in last night on ESPN2 and watched Julian Sayin just destroy Mater Dei. I heard them talk about Mater Dei being in a rebuilding season, but they're a powerhouse school. They're one of the top schools in the country. But Julian Sayin we have nothing to worry about with him coming in. Once he learns the offense at Alabama, this dude is a legit, straight up, 100,000% dual threat quarterback. The boy can move. He's shifty. I don't think we got nothing to worry about. I think we're going to end up having back-to-back national championships, and the Georgia fan base will just be over there on suicide watch because they ain't going to know what else to do. But he threw a pass last night in the end zone to, I can't remember the boy's name. I think his number was number 16 or 15. And I haven't seen a catch like that in a long time. It said since he transferred from Texas over there to Carlsbad, he has not dropped one pass that's come his way. Not one pass. And if you get a chance to go back and review that game last night, Kyle, I'm telling you, this boy, Coach Saban, they need to start recruiting this kid. They need to start recruiting this kid. That dude is going to be a phenomenal wide receiver wherever he goes. But I believe I saw
that catch. He tipped it up and he one-handed it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dirty. No,
yeah.
I saw it. I watched the highlights. So while you're talking about saying, and I want you to continue because I'm telling you, I agree. The guy is unreal. But how about Ryan Williams, the wide receiver out of Mobile? Oh. Did you see that speed that he has? I was going to retweet. It was actually on 3. It was Charles Power does their player stuff, rankings or whatever. But he caught that pass across the middle and then he outran everybody. This is a 2025 guy. I was like, look, I was going to say this. I was like, that is the speed that Alabama fans are accustomed to. He looked seriously, he looked like a Tesla, right? The dude was just flying down the side. It was unbelievable to watch. The guy was flying. But go ahead, back to you.
But yeah, I mean, I just can't wait till Sayin gets here and whoever else. We're going to be perfectly fine over the next several years. Like I said, and as far as the rest of this year goes, as of 2023, I have faith that our defense is going to step up. One of my main concerns is the defensive line. If they're going to really put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, the secondary can only do so much. But another thing, I watched the Bama Standard. I know Coach Smook is on that show from time to time. And I want to say the guy's name was Lucian or Lucianus or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He had a cowboy hat on when I was watching it, talking about don't sleep on Dylan Lonergan. The dude is a true dual sport player. He is one of the top pitchers in the country. When you have someone with the mindset, like he was saying, the mindset of Dylan Lonergan, who might throw a ball, but comes right back and throws 2 more pitches that are straight down the gut strikes. That's the mentality. You don't want somebody who's stressing out and freaking out. That's why he's been doing so good in practice. That's why everybody is noticing him. That's why Coach Saban has been saying things about him from time to time in his press conferences. The dude is not shakeable at all from what I'm hearing and what I can see. I'm telling y'all, get ready. He might end up taking it over before the year's over with. I'm just saying that the dude, he's going to be good. But like I said, it could be a 2'3" dwarf or whatever, as long as they can throw, get the ball down the field, don't have a bunch of turnovers, and score touchdowns, and lead the offense down the field, and everything keeps going, and we're ahead, and we keep winning. I don't care who it is as a quarterback. I have faith in the offensive line. I believe they're going to be the number 1 offensive line in the country. I believe the Alabama secondary is going to be the number 1 secondary in the country with interceptions. But other than that, man, there's 10 million things I can talk about, and sometimes I get lost track of thought and start going from this to that. But other than that, God bless everyone. God bless the United States. Y'all please pray for the state of Louisiana. I live up north, my part of Louisiana. My dad lives in South Louisiana, where they've been having these massive, massive, massive fires down there that is just destroying. Right now, they said over 60,000 plus acres have been burnt, and homes and things like that. We're supposed to be getting some rain tonight, and I hope it hits us a little bit up here, but it moves on down there and just stays on top of that rain because, on top of them fires. And it's really, really bad. But other than that, like I said, God bless everyone. God bless the United States of America, and y'all keep praying for Louisiana.
I appreciate it, David. Thank you so much for calling in. It's David calling in from behind enemy lines. Yeah, if you're out in northern Louisiana, you got those fires. Our prayers out to you guys. And, I'm certainly difficult to go through. Call line is open 205-850-1994. David calling in with a great call, talking about some of the guys coming up. We got a 251 and a 617 inside the call queue. And as mentioned, Jim is saying that Williams may reclassify to the class of 2024, which would be gigantic for Alabama because that guy needs to get to Tuscaloosa as fast as possible. I was blown away with his speed. I loved it. Quarterback play, amazing. You got Caleb Odom coming in as the big tight end. Love him. Want to watch a couple of the defensive prospects coming in as we continue to move through the high school football season. But yeah, absolutely. Julian saying coming in. I think, Dylan Lonergan, he's balling out too. Those are your quarterbacks that we're going to talk about. Maybe Lonergan this year. Who knows? I don't know. Coach Saban seemed to say that, it's an open race into the end of the year. I like that. We will go to our next card. It's a 251 and we'll start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, or where are you calling in from?
It's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, man, I text you the other night. I'm glad you're doing okay. I've been thinking about you. I'm thinking about all my callers, but it's good to have you back. Welcome back to the college football season. What's on your mind, Robert?
Hey, dude. Yeah, I did see it, and I forgot to call the other night. I tell you, the offseason wasn't too bad on me this year. It seemed like it came pretty quick.
Yeah.
This thing I turn around, and it's almost gets game week.
Yeah, we made it. Yeah, so we were just talking about down in your area, Ryan Williams, my goodness. I mean, you got any skinny on him? You seen him play? That speed for real?
I haven't seen him play, but yeah, I guess it is. With this quarterback situation with Milroe being the quarterback, you asked the question whether he got more than 15 runs in the game or 15. I think he will. I think we're going to have to do him the way that Auburn did Cam Newton when he was playing with them. He'll be a true dual threat, where he's got almost as much running yards as he does passing yards. I think if we do that and and the defense is as legit as we all hope it is, then we can make some noise. But, despite the fact that we don't know who our primary wide receiver is, which still has me nervous. But if we can get some creativity the way Malzahn did with Cam Newton and have plays like that scripted, then, of course, that gets out of Nick Saban's, pro style, helping the quarterback develop type of program that he wants to run. So there's that problem when you have a scheme like Auburn did with Cam Newton. But if you want to win a championship, or make some noise this season, that may be the route we need to go with Milroe, unless he can develop into a pure pocket or more of a better pocket passer than he was last season, which is possible. I mean, it happened with Jalen Hurts eventually. But if we go more like, the style of, he's running, he has almost as many rushing yards as he does passing, or is one of the leading rushing quarterbacks for the season, then Alabama can get pretty dangerous pretty quick. So I guess it'll be interesting to see if that's the route they go with it. Of course, we got a new offensive coordinator, so we just have no idea what's on this guy's mind. But it would be interesting to see if that's what happens. I guess we'll find out in this first game, because the first game is when you try this. Because it's going to be like a scheme change for Alabama. So if you're going to do it, you do this game here with against an opponent that, okay, even if your quarterback's off, you should still win this game comfortably. But you use this to iron out the what kind of a team you want to be, what kind of a quarterback you want Milroe to be. So when you play Texas, okay, now it's getting serious. Okay, here's your real test. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we're on the line with Robert calling in from Mobile, Alabama. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Excuse me, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Alabama versus Middle Tennessee this Saturday, September 2nd, 6:30 p.m. TV as SEC Network. Alabama favored by nearly 40 points. Robert, what do you want to see besides quarterbacks? What else do you want to see from this particular team under new defensive coordinator Kevin Steele when we look to this new defense? Or Coach Steele said that standard necessarily hasn't gone away. But what do you want to see from the defense? What are you looking for when we get to Saturday's game against Middle Tennessee?
Who's going to be the next receiver? Who's going to emerge as the it receiver for Alabama? No one really emerged last season, which is what one of the many problems we had that didn't help Bryce Young. Because nobody emerged as the number one receiver, and I mean that's what we need to see. What guy finally steps up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be the number one receiver," and everybody else is fighting for 2 and 3, so if who can emerge as the go-to receiver when you need a first down, who's got the sure hands, who can get open, who can create separation. We couldn't get that last year. Can we get it this year? That's what I'm looking for.
On the line with Robert calling in from Mobile, Alabama. Anything else, Robert, when you kind of look at this game from top to bottom, or anything you noticed, this past weekend with our first glance of college football? A lot of people, excited about Notre Dame, of course, right, as they blow through Navy. Sam Hartman did look good, but I'm just still not buying like the Notre Dame sauce or Kool-Aid or whatever. Just yet. We've been here too late. Look, I get it. They look good. I get it. They did. Sam's a great quarterback, but what are you buying into it already?
I tell you, Notre Dame normally over the last several years, I mean, would struggle against the Navy, and maybe eke out a 14-point victory late in the game. This is unusual. It was impressive for Notre Dame. Normally they struggle, and they'll pull it out in the end. That was the MO last year. Maybe this coach has found a way to right the ship for them. Their schedule isn't super tough. So, you know how it is with Notre Dame. They win a few games, and all of a sudden everybody, the networks jump on the bandwagon, and they got them in the playoffs. So, I think it's doable for them.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, Robert. Well, thank you so much. It's really good to talk to you as we enter week 1, and please call again anytime.
Catch you later.
All right, man. See you. That's Robert calling in from Mobile, Alabama. We'll jump to our 617. You guys think Notre Dame is for real? Yes or no? Inside the comment box. You guys buying into Notre Dame after them defeating Navy? Yes or no? 617. You on the mic? Here we go. Yeah, I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? This is Hartman from Boston.
What's up? Calling from Boston, did you say?
Yeah.
Man, so let me tell you, first of all, thank you very much for joining the show. Secondly, my mother graduated from Harvard last year, business analytics. So I've never been up to Boston before. Yeah, thank you very much. Really proud of her. She just turned 62 on August 20th. And, so I go out there and, I'm real proud of her, and it was amazing to go out there. So I stay up in Cambridge. I have a buddy who lives up in Back Bay. So I never really explored Boston before. I've been to New York and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, Boston, whatever. How is it going to be? Dude, Boston blew my mind. I had so many high level conversations with it seemed like everybody, the basis of everybody's education was a master's degree, right? I loved it up there. And you know where I found myself every morning? Up on North End, eating all the Italian food that I could. I love Boston. I can't wait to go back. It was amazing. I love the people. Clearly it's just, you get it, man. You're up there. So anyways, man, and what's on your mind is you look to this Alabama team, man. Your show. Take it away, man.
Most definitely, bro. Now, thanks for taking my call. Been a big fan for, a number of years. Been a, diehard Alabama fan for a long time. Watched every quarter for the past 5 seasons. But definitely, next time you're up in Boston, you'll have to hit me up, man. We'd love to, show you some of the spots. But, I'm excited, for this upcoming season. I think that, defense is looking really good, but I'm concerned with, last year, I think there was a lack of defensive pressure at times, obviously. And I think even when we had players like Will Anderson on the field, there were big third downs, where he wasn't necessarily making the plays. There were, like the Tennessee game, the LSU game where, we weren't having defensive pressure. We weren't, making good plays on defense, even though we had good guys like Jordan Battle. I think this year we have an even better defense, but I want to make sure, with Kevin Steele, and I think we have an upgraded D-line. Boyd B coming back, he has another year under his belt. Tim Keenan looking good. Dallas Turner is going to be a beast. I think those guys are going to be able to create more pressure. I just want to, I hope that they create consistent pressure to the point that, these games where other teams are scoring 30, 40 points, I'm hoping really not to see that this year. I want Alabama to be a shutdown defense like they were, in years past, not allowing, teams to run it up into the 40s and 50s with them. Other thing, I want to see is, this quarterback receiver connection. I'm really concerned. Obviously last year from Milroe, we saw a little bit of progress, but I'm concerned about, obviously the drops, but I'm concerned about these connections. Like when we look back to Tua with Devontae Smith, obviously we can't compare this team to that team offensively, but when we looked at, the connections, even with Mac Jones, it was smooth. I'm just, I just hope we can get it to be smooth this year. And we have a lot of great receivers. I'm looking for Malik Benson to step up because, he was the number 1 rated wide receiver coming out of community college. He's got to be good. I'm looking for Isaiah Bond to step up. He's fast. He can run. Ja'Cory Burks, he's had his moments. It hasn't been necessarily the best. I think Robert was talking about on the previous call, somebody's got to be the number one guy. And we've got to stop dropping the ball so much. I don't know if Jermaine Burton has the breakaway speed, necessarily. He's been pretty good, a couple of drops. I'm really glad we got him from Georgia. We seem to get all our best receivers from, Jameson coming from Ohio State. Obviously, and, on the quarterback thing, I think Milroe, obviously Milroe is going to be the day one QB. I think, if he turns the ball over, they're probably going to give it to Ty Simpson. If Ty Simpson turns the ball over, they're probably going to give it to Buckner. I think that, Milroe can probably do it. I think Milroe is going to go into the Texas game, and I think we're going to beat Texas, and I think Milroe, is going to look good. I hope that, I think that it's going to be probably Brooks out there and Isaiah Bond going out there. You might see Kobe Prentice in the slot, and I think that we're going to have some, some good scoring. I also think that the best running back on the team might be Jan Miller. He has the speed, the ability to break tackles. I love Justice Haynes too. He's looking great. And the fact that we have 4, with Jason McClellan and Roy Dale Williams, everybody's saying, Alabama has the best running back stable in the country. If people who really know that it's really, I don't know, Michigan's, 3 and 4, but most likely it's really Alabama, because I think you can make a case that, Jan Miller could end up being, the number one back, and, you never know. Justice Haynes could end up getting in there too. I don't think they're going to replace Jason McClellan and Roy Dale Williams. It's probably going to be divided, but we're going to be great at the running back position. I want to see this guy, CJ Dipper from, Maryland. I want to see what he can do. But we're going to need, and the O-line is going to be, great. I heard the O-line coach is the best coach, and the best assistant on the entire team. The O-line should be great this year. They got Caden Proctor. He's going to be great. We don't really have any holes. The guy who would be next to be replaced would, I guess, be Darian Delcourt at right guard, by somebody else. But, he has some years under his belt. He's not like a rookie. So I think O-line is going to be good. It's just a question of, can we, not have those misses on defense? Can we create the defensive pressure? And can whoever the quarterback is, can he connect, to these wide receivers? I think the rest of the team is going to take care of itself. I think, Downs is going to be great. He's already in there. I do worry a little bit about Terrion Arnold. I did hear an interview from, McKinstry the other day. He said he has a lot of confidence in Terrion Arnold, right? So, and Terrion Arnold, is good, but I think, he hasn't been my favorite player on the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Amos, overtakes him if, Terrion Arnold doesn't make a play one day and, replaces him for the whole season. Same thing with, Jalen Key. I don't think people know how good that cat is coming out of UAB with the most tackles on the team. So he's going to step in fine. I think our defense is going to be great, but we just got to, live up to our potential here.
Great call from Hartman calling from Boston. Man, it's amazing when you listen to others' fan perspective. We had a call from Canada, from Boston, from Florida, from Louisiana. Not that many West Coast callers in tonight, but to break it down, you did a great job, Hartman. Honestly, I think you hit on a lot of key topics. I think one of the things that stands out to me that you mentioned, and I want to see this as well in week one, is kind of the continuity between the quarterback and some of these wide receivers. I have high hopes for Malik Benson. I think that Malik Benson is going to be that next guy. If Alabama can get him the football, if he can develop some rhythm with a quarterback, I think he can absolutely be dangerous. You mentioned Kobe Prentice's name. A lot of people talking about Kobe Prentice. Where has he been? He's still there. He's at that slot position. I think in the tight end slot, you got Danny Lewis. A lot of people aren't talking about Danny Lewis just because they don't know him. And he's number 87. I think that he's going to be an added weapon for Alabama. Same thing with Amari Niblack. Someone asked in the comment box, what about Amari Niblack? And then the running back room. The running back room is so dangerous. And you made another great point regarding Jan Miller. So capable. And I think he's that all-purpose back, the big, imposing back that Alabama Alabama could certainly rely on, man. So, Hartman, anytime you want to call from Boston, feel free. And then when I'm in Boston, I'm going to call you, and we're going to go to North End. We're going to hit some spots, and then you're going to take me around and show me some other spots that we can hit. Is that cool?
Most def, Kyle. I appreciate you,
All
bro.
right, man. Take it easy. Hartman calling up from Boston. Taking our last call of the night. It'll be 5:02, and we will start right now. Hey, we're in the fourth quarter, man. I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Oh, John from Kentucky.
John calling in from Kentucky. We're double dipping up in Kentucky tonight. John, go ahead, man. What's on your mind?
Yeah, you were talking about Notre Dame and how, I was, Notre Dame's Notre Dame. They'll always be Notre Dame. But the loss of Reese was a big hit for them. And Notre Dame has been tight end U for the past decade, especially with Kelly. And his departure kind of left a void there with that. So I really look for our wide receiver room to expand. I think Nick Saban in the past few years has seen with the mixed matches of Pitts at Florida. If you go back to the 20 season when we won the title and we had to go through Notre Dame, that Notre Dame team gave us more trouble with their tight end play than any other team did that year. So I really believe that Nick Saban is doing it again. It's been pretty subtle, but he's coming into an era of tight end play where he's going to emphasize that mismatch against that team. And that's going to cause the linebackers to have to drop back in coverage on our tight ends, and it's going to open up lanes for our running back. So I really look for the dynamics of our wide receiver core to change a little bit tight end strong more than what we have seen in the past. And I believe that, like I said, it's going to be subtle. But if you notice, we're recruiting a lot better tight ends than we had normal. Back to where we had Irvin and Howard. These tight ends that we're getting now are going to do a lot more and be a lot more versatile. But it's going to be more by a committee because we got more of them and more of a caliber of tight end play. And I believe we're going to see a lot more of that. Georgia even has kind of put that with who's that? Bowers they have.
Yeah, Brock Bowers. Yes.
There.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we're going to see a lot more tight end play, and it's going to go back to I don't know if anybody remembers the 90s with Novacek.
Yeah, Jay Novacek, Cowboys.
And now what caused them one of the strengths that Dallas dynasty had was Novacek causing the linebackers to have to drop back in coverage on him. And when Aikman and Novacek hooked up, it was usually for third and long, and they just did not have an answer for that. And then when the linebackers had to commit to that coverage on the tight end play, it caused huge lanes for the running backs, Emmitt Smith, to be able to gain huge advantage yards in those areas. And I think it's going to be an emphasis on our future, if you would. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I do like, well, first of all, thanks for bringing up some of those great tight ends. Jay Novacek, certainly one of them for the Cowboys. I remember Brent Jones for the 49ers, and I think kind of the 49ers in their West Coast element under Bill Walsh, they did a great job with that as well. And then you had Roger Craig, but now we're talking about, the golden era of the NFL. I think getting to this Alabama team, and like you brought up with Tommy Rees, look, he knows how to work with the tight ends. You hear the term 12 personnel. It's working with multiple tight ends, and he's got some pretty good tight ends this year. I think, we all have high hopes for Amari Niblack. I've seen him split out. I think he's a versatile tight end that people can, certainly get excited about. And then Danny Lewis, as I mentioned, he's more balanced, can put his hand in the dirt, be a blocking guy. Still kind of trying to figure out where CJ Dupree is going to be at with this team. He's a transfer, from Maryland. And then they have their H-back, Robbie Oots, who they put in the back last year. Plenty of times, like, go back and if you watch the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, I did.
If you watch the Sugar Bowl, he comes out from the backfield and he's able to spring a touchdown for Jace McClellan. I mean, he's 260 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he even caught a pass, not a touchdown, but he caught some passes as well. Very good athlete. John, anything else while you're on the show?
Nah, just roll tide, man. I'm excited for this season, and you know, I like the show, and I'll probably be making some comments. I'll probably get on the show a little bit earlier.
Anytime, John. Calling from Kentucky, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, roll tide to you. 731. We'll start right now. Hey, thanks. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Alex from Savannah, Tennessee.
Alex, thanks for calling in from Tennessee. What's on your mind, man, as we turn the page to week 1 of the college football season?
My mind is on Jalen Milroe. I think he's a really, really good quarterback for us. He's really fast. Everyone knows that. But he's also really improved from the off season. And I just want to see how he does and see if he can keep the job.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that's what we're all like waiting to see, right? We're like waiting to see if like how Jalen Milroe comes out, how he performs, if he's able to connect with these wide receivers that Alabama has, what type of offense will Tommy Rees display, who will be utilized at the running back position. But we all want to see like Jalen Milroe's game. Honestly, that's like, think about it like this, fam. Inside the comment box, what are the 5 things that you want to see from Alabama's offense? Just Alabama's offense. Number one thing, and with number 1 being the most important, I think it's the development of Jalen Milroe, right? That would probably be the number 1 thing for me. So I think you're right, Alex. I think like, how much has he improved? You believe that he has improved. I do too, to be honest.
What's going on, Alabama Nation? It's your boy, Coach Smook, here with my bro. Is he over there?
Sean from Huntsville,
baby. What's up?
Right
baby?
here.
Your 2 coaches, your chat coaches, man. How y'all doing tonight? Hey, we just doing a little, I guess, a random get to because we excited about Alabama football. How you feeling, brother?
Man, extremely excited. Ready. It's about that time. I smell the grass. Let's go. It's here.
That and all, all the outlets putting out their different views and takes on things. I'm one of those guys, man. I take it all in. The stuff that don't make sense, the stuff that makes sense, because it charges me to think on a different perspective from everything. And I think that's what makes that last week of build up to college football just that much better, man. So I'm excited, bro. I mean, and then the smell of the air this morning, it smelled like fall up here in Virginia.
Yeah, man. You know what kind of motivates me more than anything? So I can only imagine how the players feel.
Right.
I don't recall the last time in the Coach Saban era that this many people have been throwing dirt on us this early.
And I mean,
wow, man. Wow.
Heavy dirt. I mean, not like, people like would throw a little beach shovel.
Yeah.
Bucket shovel a little bit. No, they dumping trunk loads of dirt. Like, and this is impromptu, but I can't get over the Jalen Milroe narrative, the negativity behind Jalen Milroe. Like, who's the best athlete on the team right now?
Exactly. I would tell any fan out there, man, just from playing experience, the toughest quarterback you can kind of face, the one who can complete 20 to 30 yard passes, and the one that we're in man coverage can make us pay for playing man coverage. Look back no further than the quarterbacks that have defeated us. If you look at the Tennessee game, we know Hendon Hooker is not Michael Vick or Johnny Manziel by any stretch of the imagination, but he can pull it down. You look at Jaden Daniels, that's how they end up beating us in overtime. So
I mean, even Joe Burrow, 2019, Joe Burrow didn't do it all with his arm. He used his legs. And
man.
Caught us off guard.
Yes. And I understand people's concerns. I get it. But it's one game, guys. It's one game. Think about it. Redshirt freshman, big game. Coach Saban versus Jimbo. All the hoopla behind that game. The guy came out and started a very pressure cooked game. Didn't play very, very well, but didn't play very, very bad either. We almost lost the game because he did get a ball to those guys, but it was his only start. Yes, he played against Arkansas, but that was not a start. So think about the pressure that was on that young man. He came out and we won the game, guys. We won the game. So understand the difference in regressing and increasing your play. I think Jalen's going to be just fine, man. I know he hears everything that's going on. The young man has taken the reps with the first team. Let's give him a chance and see what he can do. Let's give him a chance and see what he can do.
And I mean, everybody's like, he had his chance. No, he didn't. Bryce didn't go up there and blow it up his first game. He was ahead though. Bryce was competing for the job when he got on campus If
Exactly.
COVID hadn't happened, everybody know Bryce probably would have beat out Mac Jones. As hard as Mac Jones would have worked, I honestly believe Bryce goes out the first game of the season, just like we had Blake Barnett in the Jalen Hurts situation. We give Mac Jones 3 drives, we give Bryce 3 drives, and whoever performs the best at that point in time will finish the game. And then if it carries over to week 2, Bryce would have won that battle out just off natural talent alone. And then you had a guy like Jameson Williams. I mean, not J-Mo, but that was that J-Mo year 2020. J-Mo wasn't there. That was Mechie and Smitty. That was Smitty's Heisman year. You had
Mac
Smitty
was
and
with
Waddle
Smitty
still
and
there.
them, and J-Mo was with Bryce. Bryce's Heisman year.
Exactly. So you think about that year before then, and you put Bryce with Smitty, Waddle, Mechie, Bolden was there as the 4th option. You had young Billingsley before he had the little attitude problems. I mean, they had guys that surrounded Najee Harris out the backfield as your lead back. I mean, it was one of those things where when you talk about the amount of talent that Alabama continues to bring in at the quarterback position, how could we dare doubt Coach Saban? He has yet to make a horrible decision at quarterback. You talking about from making a former running back / DB, letting him go back there and toss that rock and being one play away from going to the national championship
and throwing for over 3,000 yards.
3,000 yards in his first year as a starter at quarterback.
Yes.
Come on now. And I mean, he played quarterback in high school, but it wasn't 4 quarters at a time. Blake Sims spot played at quarterback. He was a great read option quarterback. Like that's where he was an athlete. He was a smaller Jalen Milroe. And if Saban was able to bring in somebody who at that time, who was the offensive coordinator for Blake Sims?
Blake Sims was, I think that was it Blake?
That was Kiffin's first time through, wasn't it?
Was that Kiffin's first year?
I want to say Kiffin's first year because Kiffin got Coker the second year, right?
Yeah, Jacob Coker came in because they was battling the first season and Coker didn't start. Sims started.
So
Lane Kiffin,
you have the same type of mindset in the coach. So Lane Kiffin, everybody think Lane Kiffin does. He's known for passing the ball, being able to create passing mismatches. No, Lane Kiffin knows how to scheme the run so that he can incorporate the pass and create mismatches over top. He knows how to get you to stop allowing 5-6 guys sit in coverage and forcing you to make 6 or 7 guys pay attention to what's happening in the line of scrimmage.
That's a whole fact.
And he creates the matchups on the outside, the mismatches on the outside. So you got a guy like Tommy Reese who wants to use the tight ends to create the mismatches on the outside, on the inside of the field, then build outside. And we're built for it.
And remember, man, let's give him a chance. Remember Mac against Auburn. Mac threw, 1 pick sixes, 1 pick 6.
Man.
He threw the ball behind Najee. Auburn guy takes it back to the house. It happens, man. It happens. So let's not hold that one game against the young man. We won the game. Let's give the man a chance. Obviously, if there was a better quarterback, Coach Saban would play them. Trust me.
Right.
He understands the dynamic that Jalen Milroe brings, man. He understands that you cannot play man coverage against this guy. This guy will make you pay. He understands the type defense that Texas plays. If you don't think Coach Sark understands what we're going to try to do, he may not know which quarterback we're going to start. He may have an idea like we all.
Yeah.
But Coach Sark right now, he understands how to play us, man. So Saban wants that trump card in his back pocket. On 3rd and long, when nobody's open, somebody gets beat on the offensive line. Guess what? This guy can make you pay.
You got a running back there. You got a running back there. Like, and it's crazy because I think people forget the basic scheme of things when it comes to football. I guarantee you, if you line up 10 college football coaches right now, and you put Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner in front of them to lead their program this year with what they currently have, Georgia will take Jalen Milroe right now.
Of course.
You know what? I'll take that back because Ty Simpson is right there. I'm telling you, like, even though
he's gonna have a great future, man. He's gonna have an absolute outstanding future.
And my only fear is that, and I want Jalen Milroe to win it, but if Jalen Milroe stakes it up, I think Ty takes it and never turns it back over.
Yeah.
That buys him this year to legitimize himself as the starter, and the ability to kind of fight off Dylan Lonergan, because I think Dylan Lonergan is going to be the space between Julian Sayans starting and when he comes in, not starting as a freshman, so I think Dylan Arnold gonna be able to hold it down for 2 years.
Man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting
because that dude is
Yeah,
nasty,
man.
bro. He's nasty. But I don't think Saban's going to have to force him out there, so he won't have to. He just won't. It won't be a time where he needs to be out there, and
Exactly.
that's just how it's going to be for the next 4 or 5 years at Alabama. Somebody, I forget what podcast I was watching, bro, but I want to say Cole Kublik is getting a lot of backlash for making a statement. He was like,
I love Cole show too.
Oh
Shout
yeah,
out to Cole.
Cole calls it like
Shout
it
out
is.
Cole.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
Cole Kublik. He calls it like it is. He said a lot of people gave him slack because he said he thinks Alabama is going to run away with the West. He didn't say winning. He said run away with the West. And he said a lot of Georgia fans gave him slack for saying that Alabama was going to win the West. Like they were the most. He said, you know what? I sat there and I looked at some of those comments and what these people were saying, these Georgia fans who all of a sudden got this high and mighty attitude after winning the back-to-back. And I said, you know what? Coach Saban won the back-to-back. And Coach Saban went from winning the back-to-back to only being 2 games away from being right back in the national championship. And that season, those games, A&M, and then I think we dropped the late one to Auburn, the kick 6, I want to say. So you think about those years, and he said, but every time Coach Saban comes back with quarterback problems and a stable full of running backs and a talented defense, nobody touches Alabama. But let's go into the statistics. He said we have on Alabama in their starting lineup, everybody that's projected to start in their starting lineup are in the top 5 to 10 players ranked in their position for their class. Everybody across the lineup. There's not one that is not either the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number player ranked in their position for that class that they came out of. And you got guys like Kendrick Blackshear not starting.
Exactly. And remember this, man. It is extremely difficult to play on the road in the SEC. We played and forget the SEC for a minute, to go to Texas at 11 o'clock in the morning in 150,000 degrees out there.
117 at kickoff.
Like, come on, man. At Texas, at LSU, at Ole Miss, at Tennessee. What was it? At Arkansas.
Come on.
That is tough for any team, man. People got to understand Tennessee, for those guys, first of all, it was a bogus call. I can say it now. It was a bogus call on JaQuincy McKinstry, on Kool-Aid McKinstry. It was a bogus call that gave those guys another chance. That game was supposed to be over. Done. So to go on the road, these guys get a win. These guys hadn't beat us in just about 20 years. What was it, 15, 16 years?
Yeah, 16.
So freshmen on every team in America has no recollection of Tennessee ever even being good rather than beating Alabama. So for us to go on the road to these guys, to Tennessee, to LSU, and for these guys to beat us like that was a big deal for these guys.
Yeah.
Every time somebody beats Alabama, lucks up and beat us, they storm the field and tear the goal down. You know what I mean? So that should tell
I remember
any
you making
fan.
this statement. Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, beating Alabama is the equivalent of having your first child to these fans, right?
Yes.
These opposite fan bases.
You know
So
what?
I
It's not
want
even beating Alabama. It's beating Coach Saban.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. Beating Coach Saban, man. So beating Alabama, beating Coach Saban, that means something. So to lose 2 games in the fashion that we did, and I know the haters will say, well, you almost lost this many, but guess what? We didn't. The key is to win the football game. Do what you have to do to win the football game. So Alabama has been to the playoffs 8 of 11 years. We've won 6. We should have been in the playoffs last year. You know what I mean? After what I saw. Like, no disrespect to TCU, but this is why I will never be with. I know that that's where we're going to, the conference champions. But before this playoff before the 12-team playoff came into effect, this is why I was never with conference champions, because all conferences are not created equal. You may be 10-0 playing Hubba Bubba University and Bubbalicious Tech and all these wonderful little schools, but you didn't play LSU. You didn't play Georgia. You didn't play Florida. You didn't play Ole Miss on the road. You didn't play Arkansas. You can go 10-2 in our conference and still be better than your conference champion.
You can go 9-4. You can go 9-4.
Think about this. I saw your conference champion out of the Big 12, respect to Oklahoma, with Jalen Hurts, that great team they had. I saw LSU put almost 50 points on them in the first half. I saw your conference champion, Michigan State, conference champion, right? Big Ten, you deserve to be there, right? I saw Alabama, you know what, smack them. Like, come on, man. Like, stop it. All conferences are not created equal. So for Bama to lose 2 games and not get an opportunity, it was bogus to me. That's why. Is it the 4 best teams or the 4 most deserving? Make your choice. So I'm glad we're going to the 12 team.
And we can jump on that. People don't. They gotta literally pin that narrative from the start of the season.
Don't
Are
call
we
it
going to go with the 4 best teams,
right,
or the 4 most deserving teams? And deserving means I handled my schedule. I didn't lose games that I was picked to win based off of this crazy. All right, I feel like this committee saying I feel like they looking good this week, so let's give them the
exactly.
That's crazy to me, because the game of football is played on the field every week, not in no bedded room. Not it's literally what's happening between those workout facilities, those practice fields, those training facilities, and on that field. That's how the game of football is
I'm not
played.
even mad, Coach Mook, if they want to say TCU deserved to go last year because they was the most deserving.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. They won their conference, right?
No, Kansas State won their conference.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because we ended up beating Kansas
and guess
State
who
in the ball
Kansas
game.
State around? Yeah,
with their full roster. They didn't have no guys sitting out talking about we going to the draft.
Exactly. If you want to say Michigan, TCU, all those guys deserve to go, okay, you have an argument. We did lose 2 games, but if it's the 4 best teams, come on, man.
You want to go statistics? We can match up with statistics against all the people you had it ranked in front of us. And people love to talk about how dominant Georgia defense was, but go look at last season's statistics with Alabama and how trash of a defense we had. And look at our statistics in those third down, and still was like top 10, top 15 or some crazy. And I'm like, ain't no way. And then our offense. I looked at some of our offensive averages. I'm like, ain't no way our run game was in top 30, top 35. No way.
Man.
We didn't hand the ball off enough. How was
exactly?
But you go back and you look at some of these games, you be like, dang, Jace did break one off. Roydell broke about 230 off. You know, why did we go away from it? You know, that's why we forget about it.
Man, listen, I can honestly tell you, you know, I played this game just like you know what I mean? So I don't allow myself to get disgusted like that. But I'm gonna tell you one game where my fandom had overtook me so bad I couldn't help it. That Tennessee game did something to me, man. Like I think all the fans can relate to us. That Tennessee game, when I watched them run those wide splits, right? And I watched DeMarco Helms. Yeah, man.
Why are you walking? Why are you running?
Why you walking? Man, that stuff is the very thing I was asking myself. And don't you know Josh Heupel seen it? The offensive coordinator seen it. They
said there's no way. There's no way he's not going to adjust to this. That's what Josh Heupel was saying. There, you could tell when he was calling the play. You could look at it. He was looking at the OC like,
yes. Are they not good? Yeah, facts. That was film study, brother. Okay, we'll give you one. You beat him on one. Okay, it happens, right? But to give up another one and another one and another one
and one more,
man. And we couldn't adjust. And one more.
Did it 5. They ran it 7 times. They threw it to him 5 times and were 5 of 5. I think one of them was a pass interference because he ended up just taking them out. But that's basically a completion. You gave him a first down. You know, 15 yards.
Me, man. Yeah, man. I was concerned. I've never seen a Bama team so discombobulated on defense, and to give up a ball like that on those same plays, man. That was extreme. Like, forget the players for a minute, respectfully. Yeah, I was coaching wise concerned. Like, what are we doing?
What is Coach Saban allowing to go on that sideline that nobody has went to DeMarco Helms and said, you know what? We can't come out of this because we're going to have somebody spy the quarterback. Exactly. We're not getting the pressure up front. So stop walking down to 8 yards and letting this guy run and staying in your back pedal. If anything, DeMarco, bail out and then come up and make the tackle.
Exactly.
We could live with him.
We can live with him underneath. Exactly.
At least we'll get a good hit on him trying to catch the ball and make moves. We should be pursuing to the ball afterwards anyways. But at least we get a good hit on him and maybe cause a fumble, maybe cause him to not want to get hit anymore. But to sit there and have no football IQ, 0, because you're out of shape, you're tight, you're out partying the night before, as the rumors came out afterwards, you know, like, just because it's Tennessee, you don't understand. DeMarco, you weren't part of that dominating the Tennessee era. You're benefiting from the people that came in 2007, 2008, and started rebuilding that Bama standard, that gritty toughness right before Saban came back. So you were a part of that. You just benefiting from it. You don't have the right to go out here and try to put your pride before coaching. And even in that, bro, you said something that made me think, man, like the concern on the coaching staff, because my thing was how much control, like what is this phase that Coach Saban is in? Is he really in this phase of being an overseer, a manager of his coordinators? Because I honestly don't remember Kirby Smart having that much control when things would, which was very far and few. But it was some games where you would see Saban go over and him and Kirby would send him the call. Like, this is what I plan on doing. And Coach, this is what we're going to. You know, he calling it. I remember Coach Saban was sending calls to Eddie Jackson. Foster was it Foster in front of him at linebacker? I can't remember who the mic was in front of him, but Eddie Jackson was sending the play calls against Texas A&M that year when they had the 5 or 3 or 4 picks or whatever it was, 2016. Yes. Eddie Jackson was out there because the linebacker had one job: contain the quarterback, spot a quarterback.
Right.
And they simplified the defense. They simplified the game plan and let guys play football. You got a guy like Kevin Steele, I believe, is going to do the same thing. And
I hope so. Because personnel, that's what I see in Georgia, man.
Yeah.
Listen, when you watch the Georgia game against Tennessee and you see the scheme that Georgia ran, that used to be what we do.
Yeah. They
were not concerned with dropping 8. We're gonna play this defense just to not get beat. Man,
jam your guy up, safety, you stay over top, be ready to help on run support.
That's a fact. That's a whole fact.
Inside the hashes. You're not helping on run support outside the hashes.
Yeah.
We going because we running gap contain. Our ends have to contain the edge.
Have to contain, exactly.
Our linebackers should be filling between the 2 and the 5. Let's go. And that's another thing, bruh. To have a defensive coordinator that's going to tell your linebackers to get your hat in the hole. Don't let what's coming through the hole meet you. Go
and move you out the way.
Meet it on the other side. You should be in the hole before it starts to whatever's coming through that shouldn't beat you there.
Yeah, you got to feel. You got to feel.
Trez Marshall, Justin Jefferson. Guys,
I've been telling Kyle about Trez Marshall since that kid got there. That guy was in the starting rotation at Georgia. He's physical. What I like about him,
was it the shoulder? It was like a labrum injury or something?
It was something with his shoulder. I think he had surgery and was out for the longest. But that kid is physical, man.
And he's a specimen.
Respect to Henry. Henry was a good player. I love Henry Toe, but Henry would almost hesitate and get turned out of the hole. He wouldn't feel. It's like, long as the play was sideline to sideline, he would try his best to run you down. But the thumping, the feeling, and teams keyed on that. They obviously had great film study because a lot of teams challenged the gap, the Henry's gap, over and over and over. I think Ole Miss ran Henry's gap at least 8 times over and over, back to back to back. I would have done the same thing if I was coaching against Alabama.
Sean, anytime you have an offensive coordinator that's confident about running a middle screen, that's total disrespect to your interior because your D lineman, your defensive tackle is supposed to press. He's supposed to press. He a smart D lineman can be savvy and play the pass, the screen behind, but you're supposed to press the quarterback because there's a chance that D line press. Your linebackers, your free safety, your strong safety, they're the ones supposed to be able to read that and crash on it. You know what I'm saying? Toa would run into blocks that weren't meant for him. You get what I'm saying? Like he would run past the plate and make the fake flail at the feet. Like that type of behavior was it made me lose respect for him. But I'll go and I look back at when Toa was at Tennessee.
Yeah,
he didn't play like that.
He was bigger at Tennessee as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he played with such a relentlessness. Like, I wonder, did his IQ intrigue Pete Golden so much that it was like, all right, I'm gonna let this guy basically handle, the adjustments inside. And did that slow him down? Did that make? I think so, man. Go watch his interview on YouTube, man. They did the little cover, the little draft backstory on Toa. And the kid come from, he not no uppity kid. He come from Sacramento,
Fan, what's up? Kyle Henderson down here. At 10:30, we will have Middle Tennessee head football coach Rick Stockstill during his weekly press conference. That'll be at 10:30. I'll flip it back over to the coaches, and then I'll bring you back here at 10:30 for Rick Stockstill. Coach Saban at 12 p.m. I'll head down to the Naylor Stone Media Room to bring you that press conference at 12 p.m. But at 10:30, we will have head football coach Rick Stockstill. So stay tuned, stand by, keep me posted inside the comment box if we run into any audio issues. Just go ahead and say you can't hear coach or whatever. So we're trying some different technologies just to make sure that everything is set. So with that said, I'll get back to the coaches and I'll be back momentarily.
That's why he was able to adapt to the players, the locker room. You never heard anybody complain about his locker room atmosphere. But that on the field production, it went from, these 20 assist tackles that he getting credit for. Them 0.5s add up to 12 tackles. And you're like, what, 12 tackles?
Yeah.
He got 24 assists. That's how. He jumping on the pile. But you go back to those 24 tackles at Alabama, and then 2 years before, he would have 12, 13 tackles in the game. And they were like, Toa, hit it again. Toa, stop it in the backfield. Because guess who was his coordinator? Jeremy Pruitt.
Of course.
Somebody that believes in putting your hat in the doggone hole.
Yeah, Jeremy was physical, man, and he didn't mind attacking you. When you look back, guys, at when we had Ruben and Reggie, and you see how physical those guys, man, they would thump you, bro. They did not mind. If you send a lineman and you pull a lineman, he's coming through the trash, man, they going to smash the lineman. They know they can't get to the tackle. They going to punish the lineman to make him think about it next time. And that's the kind of defense I want to get back to, man. I don't care nothing about dropping eight, keeping everything in front of you. If we going to live, I'd rather live and die by it. Let's go get the quarterback. Let's go get him. Let's go get him, put a hat on him. You see what Georgia did to Hendon Hooker last year? Man, they hit that. That man was seeing ghosts. He was seeing ghosts.
And it wasn't even off of scheme. Guys were winning matchups up front, bro.
Guys were winning matchups. Exactly.
And we have guys that can win matchups. Why do we not allow these 5- and 4-star athletes go out there and play football,
don't even get me started on that. Where's Curtis Perry? Curtis Perry is quick. Where's Ja Moran Latham? These
Jeremiah
guys have
Alexander.
Speed. Where is Jeremiah Alexander, man? Listen, I don't have no disrespect for Tim. Tim Smith is absolutely outstanding, but Tim is.
Chris, can you hear us?
I got you. Sounds good, sir. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome everyone to our first press conference of 2023. The way this will work today, we have people live at the press conference. They'll be asking questions, and then some on Zoom. So if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand, and then we'll call on you. So to get everything started, the way it'll be, Coach Stock will come up with some opening comments and then answer any questions you have, and then we'll bring up our student athletes. So the Blue Raiders open up the season this week on Saturday at Alabama. So to talk about that and what lies ahead, I'd like to get started with head coach Rick Stockstill.
Thank you, AC. Appreciate everybody being here and being on Zoom. It's game week and fired up. This is in our world, it's the greatest week of the year. And I'm sure every coach, every player in the country is saying that now. So, but we're excited about it. We've had a really, really good off season going all the way back to January, then through spring practice this summer, and then camp. So I like where we're at right now. I like our team. It's a very, very committed and competitive team. And so I'm excited about these guys and looking forward to watching them play. Obviously, we've got a tremendous challenge and a tremendous opportunity this week with Alabama, one of the best teams in the country. They lose 2 games last year by a total of 4 points, and everybody thinks the sky is falling down there. So it's really, really talented team. We've got to play well. We expect to play well. And just looking forward to getting down there and starting this season off. So they got a lot of good players, but we got a lot of good players too. And I believe in our team, and we've got to play well. Anytime you play a team like Alabama, a top 2-3 team in the country, you got to play well. You can't give them anything. You got to make them earn everything they get. And and then we've got to play really well. So that's our expectation, and we'll go down there and play. And I expect us to play good. I expect us to. There's never any question that we'll play hard. I know we'll play hard, but I expect us to go down there and play well this weekend. So looking forward to this opportunity. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Coach Sam Dowden, GoBlueRaiders.com. Alabama's got 2 new coordinators this year, but one on offense, one on defense. How do you go about preparing for what could be some new looks from a team when you don't have any tape on them for week 1?
Well, I think anytime you look at Alabama when they've had coordinator changes, schematically they haven't changed that much. Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator, this is his 3rd time with Coach Saban at Alabama. He was at Miami last year as the defensive coordinator. And what they did at Miami was there's some carryover, there's some similarity to what, he had done at Alabama while he was there. So, we're preparing for Alabama, and then same thing offensively, coming from Notre Dame, Tommy coming from Notre Dame there. I don't foresee them changing drastically. I know they want to run the ball better than what they did last year, or maybe a little bit more effectively than what they did last year. So you play that into it. They got the quarterback dilemma a little bit, who it's going to be, but whoever they put out there is going to be a talented player. So we've got enough tape. We've watched a little bit of Notre Dame. We've watched a little bit of Miami. We've watched a lot of Alabama.
Coach Cecil Joyce, Daily News Journal. Coach, talk about the quarterback situation at Alabama, and do you expect multiple quarterbacks, and how does that affect how you prepare for them?
I don't know what to expect. Just putting, myself in those shoes, they may want to play multiple guys. They redshirted a couple guys last year. They got a transfer in from Notre Dame, so maybe they want to play multiple guys. I don't know. It's not my team. So, we'll prepare. We've watched a little bit of all those guys, and we'll prepare for whoever comes out there, and that's all you can do. You can't worry about who they're going to play, what they're going to do. Control what we can control. That's all we can do. So whoever goes out there schematically, it's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a drastic change from, Ty Simpson to, this guy to the other guy, whoever it's going to be. So go out there and do our job, do it the best that we can do it. And hopefully that's good enough.
Chip Walters, Blue Raider Network. Your quarterback situation, you have come out of spring this year pretty much knowing who your guy was going to be. And talk a little bit about Nick's story and, having been a bowl MVP 2 years ago to redshirting last year. It's kind of unique.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this because Nick's in here, but I love Nick. I respect Nick. I respect the heck out of him, all the way back to recruiting him in high school, when he had to go through he was part of the COVID deal where, lost his season but wanted to play. So he went to another place so he could play. And then coming here, sight unseen, he wasn't able to visit here. And just the relationship that we developed is special to me. And then, coming in as a freshman, he wasn't ready at that, when he first got here, and not many of them are. So plan was to redshirt him. Then we had one quarterback leave, and then Chase got hurt. And ultimately we thought, Nick gave us the best chance to win, and he proved that was accurate. And so in this day and time, it's hard for guys not to be selfish. And you don't play at all. You're on the scout team. You don't play at all for 7 weeks, 7 games, and then here comes coach. Hey, you want to give up your redshirt year in the middle of a game? And he didn't blink an eye. And I respect guys like that. And so he played those 5 games, his true freshman year. And I told him, I said, the next year, compete for the job. If you're the guy, you'll be it. And if not, try to get your redshirt year back. And, Chase, played, and Chase had a great year. And Nick came in a couple games last year when Chase went down. But Chase is Nick is a great teammate. He's a great player. He's fun to coach. He works extremely hard. And, now he's earned this opportunity to lead this team out of the tunnel the first game. And, just have a lot of respect for him and admiration for him and what he's done in a short period of time here. I think he's played, 7 games, something like that, 6 games, whatever it is, and not even complete games. And, I'm very, very confident in Nick, and very confident that he's going to have a heck of a year this year.
Coach, you've coached down at Alabama in 2015 with the Blue Raiders. You have a lot of coaches on staff that played in that game. What are y'all telling the team this year about to prepare for that environment specifically?
We'll meet tomorrow. I didn't even talk about it one time during camp. They know who would play. We'll talk a little bit about it, but all that stuff. We've been in big stadiums. We've been in loud stadiums. Played music loud the other day in practice during some team stuff, just so the offense could get acclimated a little bit to, some crowd noise. But I didn't say, hey, Nick, this is what it's going to be like on Saturday, just played it. And I don't make a big deal out of that kind of stuff. And, Brent and Marquise and Shane and those guys have played down there and all that stuff. So, same thing as last year at Miami, same thing at Syracuse, and same thing in Missouri, all that kind of stuff. We just, we go down there and roll up our sleeves and go to work and fight our guts out for 60 minutes.
Coach, Calvin White, MTSU sidelines. I know that the first game isn't always, the best measuring stick, especially against an opponent like Alabama. But after all the work you guys have put in during camp, is there something specific that you're hoping to take away from this opening week?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is you just want to go out and play as clean a game as you can. And you always look at first games. Most of the time, people lose the game. They don't get beat in first games because of mistakes that they make, whether it be in the kicking game or give up big plays on defense, or you turn the ball over on offense. So to go down there and play a clean game, our objective is to win this game, but to do that, we've got to play clean. We've got to play smart. We can't do things to beat ourselves. And with, like I said, penalties, turnovers, missed tackles, giving up big plays, things in the kicking game that, tend to show up a little bit more in first games.
One connection between you and Coach Saban I didn't know about this week was your daughter Emily actually worked for him a little bit when she was a student down there in the football office. What do you remember about her experiences down there that she's told you about, and sort of that connection between the two of y'all?
Yeah, she had a great experience. Whatever they won, 3 SEC championships, 2 national championships. They went to playoffs all the years that she was there. She was involved in the recruiting part of it. She was involved in the logistics, part of it. So it was a great experience for her to be around that. And, and then her, they'd go in the SEC championship, then she'd go with us to the Bahamas Bowl, and she'd come back and go to the playoffs with them. And she had a great experience, and just being around a lot of, good coaches down there. Burton Burns, who's not coaching there anymore, but a lot of good people. Coach Saban obviously, but it was a great experience for her. And she'll be down there, this week also to rekindle her friendships with the Alabama people, and hopefully she'll be rooting for her daddy and her brother.
Coach, new rules in effect this year. Did you see any games over the weekend, and how any of the timing rules and things like that might have an effect?
No, and I'm on the rules committee, so I've got a pretty good understanding of everything they've said, that just keeping the clock running after first downs, other than the last 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarters. They're talking about taking anywhere from 5 to 7 plays out of a game. And when you watch a game on TV, you're not sitting there, that's 58, that's 59, so it's hard to see. The one thing that came up, you can't call back-to-back timeouts, is I believe it was UTEP. They called a timeout. Then they had a substitution deal right after the timeout where they didn't get the playoff, and they called another timeout. Can't do it, so it was a 5-yard penalty. So I don't think, to the normal person and the normal eye and the naked eye, you're going to sit there and say, yeah, that was a really, really fast game. I think it's just going to take, people getting used to that clock not stopping.
Any other question for Coach Stock today? Okay, Oscar, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good morning from Mexico City. You name it, no? This is a great game for the college, for the university. What is your opinion about this game versus Alabama transcends the frontiers? Here in Mexico and 17 countries will be watching this kickoff of this new season. Could you say some words to all the people?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but if all the way to Mexico City,
around this part of the globe. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Appreciate you, my man. You broke up a little bit, but to all the people out there in Mexico City, I appreciate you watching. Hope you guys will cheer on us, and I just appreciate you taking the time to call in here. That's pretty special. It's pretty cool that you'd call in here and do that. So we're excited to go down and play Alabama. Like I said earlier, looking forward to this opportunity and challenge. And I appreciate all you guys there in Mexico City watching us and cheering us on.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Great. Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Morning, Chris. How you doing, my man?
Great. Good to see you. You were talking about your quarterback earlier, and I was just curious as to kind of your thoughts on protecting him against knowing kind of what Alabama's defensive scheme is like and how they're able to rush the passer. What's the key to keeping your quarterback upright and B, having him be able to execute the offense with that pass rush?
Yeah, I don't have any issues, any doubts that Nick will execute our offense. Our offensive line has done a really good job this camp. We've done a good job. And the thing, they're talented. They're going to come out with pressures and all that kind of stuff. But, we've just got to be able to communicate and pick them up. And then I think the big thing is just, once you get outside the pocket, understand and know, and this doesn't matter if you're playing Alabama or, the Georgetown High School Wampus Cats, it doesn't matter. Once you get outside the pocket, understand, when the play is over and get down and live for the next down. So, but I don't have any doubts that our line will do a good job. Our backs will do a good job. Nick will get us in the right protection, and he'll sit back there like a man and compete. And like I said, as a quarterback, you're standing there, you're standing upright, and you got another 6'5", 300-pound man coming barreling right down at you, and you got to sit there in the pocket, and you got to sit there and make the throw and take it on the chin sometimes. That's part of being a quarterback. And Nick's got that toughness, and so we'll do a good job. Hopefully we do a good job protecting him.
Anything else for Coach?
Good deal. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, everyone. It's now time for our student athletes. Today we have quarterback Nick Vadiato and safety Trey Fluellen. We'll get started with Nick.
Hey, Nick, Cecil Joyce here. Nick, talk about what Coach Brent Stockstill has spoken to you guys in the quarterback room, or more specifically you, about his experience having played down, having quarterback down there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember briefly speaking about it. Really, it started because last year Chase and we would always pull up old games of Brent, and he hated it because he would walk in the room and we'd be watching him, and he'd be like, "What are you guys doing?" But honestly, briefly spoke about it. I remember he said he was still pretty young at the time. One of his first games he played in, he said it's a big opportunity. Go out there and it's the same game you've been playing your whole life. It's football at the end of the day. But obviously he said it's a great atmosphere to play in. It's a great experience and opportunity. And like I said, it hasn't been much more than that, but yeah.
Sam Dowden here. We spoke a little bit with Coach about, the unique circumstances of how you've gotten into the game with this team in the past. Does it feel any different now going into the season, knowing you're the starter, than it did the past weeks when you knew that going in?
Yeah, I think definitely a little bit. I think, going back to my freshman year, it was kind of like, midway through the year, just kind of go into it and just start playing. And then last year, Chase went down 1 week, and I stepped in for the 1 week, and we made it work. And I think being able to go through this spring, this summer, all throughout camp has been really good, not just for myself, but for everyone on the offense to kind of start create some chemistry, some camaraderie with each other. And I think we've done a hell of a job all throughout camp and kind of building that trust with each other. I know Coach Stu's big on that, building trust. And so I'm feel, really comfortable back there. I trust all my guys. Excited to get rolling this week.
Nick, talk a little bit about that trust when it comes to your offensive line and how you go about that as a leader on the offense and trying to build that.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a hell of a job all throughout the spring, put the work they'd put in over the summer, and then all throughout camp. I think they've just been playing their butts off. And I mean, I trust each and every one of them, whether it's the first group, the second group, the third group. They all have been playing super hard. They've been communicating well, which I think has been super important for us. I mean, if you look at game film from last year compared to what we've been doing in camp this year, I think their communication's at an all-time high. It's helped them pass off twists and stunts and all that kind of thing. And they've done a hell of a job protecting not just me, but any quarterback who's in there. And it's been really nice to kind of know when you drop back that you have 5 guys up there protecting for you, and it makes your job a little easier too. So I, love those guys, trust them to the fullest, and appreciate everything they do.
A little bit more difficult to do this for week one, just because you don't have any tape of this year's team. But looking at last year's team, some of the stuff maybe you're seeing from their new DC, what impressed you about this Alabama defense? But before y'all head down there,
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying they're a well-coached team. They know what they're doing. Rarely do they ever have a busting coverage or a missed assignment on defense. Their front 7 they're strong, they're fast. They're very gap controlled. They never get out of their gap. And I think, when you go up against something like that, it can be a challenge. But I think Coach Stock says to us, we're just going to go down there and do what we do. And, as long as we do that, we'll put ourselves in the right position to win. But I mean, that's a very good defense. They have great players. And like I said, that goes without saying, great coaching. I think it's just more about not shooting ourselves in the foot. We have to go down there, do what we do, what we've been doing all throughout camp, and put ourselves in the best position to win.
Any more questions for Nick? All right, thanks, Nick. And now we'll get Trey Flewellen.
Trey, we were talking. I remember seeing a speech from you in camp talking about wanting to make a mark for Middle Tennessee this season, and this is a big game environment with a chance to do that. What are y'all talking about in the locker room about the opportunity that y'all have as a team this weekend?
Yeah, for the most part, obviously we're playing Alabama. Everybody knows who Alabama is. Not a lot of people know who Middle Tennessee is. Only time that people really understood who Middle Tennessee was is after the Miami game. So for the most part, just trying to make us known as a team, rather than us just being different players, and just executing our job.
That's right. Cecil Joyce here. The excitement of not only the first game, but being on the road, playing one of the nation's powerhouses. How do you stay within yourself and not get too anxious, too overexcited out there on the field and make busted coverage because of that?
I think for the most part, just having leadership and having an understanding of what's really going on. Obviously, at the end of the day, we're playing football. So us leaders, us captains, keeping the team under control, which we have a lot of great other dudes who are leading on the team. It's not just us captains. So us just understand that we have to play the next play and just keep playing the next play, and understand that, there's going to be ups and downs is the biggest thing that's going to go on this year. So being mature and being ready.
One of those leaders on the defense who isn't a captain this year is Devin Curtis, who gets you all a lot of times into the play from the sideline. How is he sort of like a stabilizing force for you guys at that Mike linebacker position?
Yeah, it's Devin Curtis. Obviously, he's an All-American, and you can see it on and off the field. He does a great job of coming in, doing the things that we're supposed to do. He doesn't do anything wrong for the most part. Off the field, he's holding everybody accountable, doing everything right, and anytime you have a guy that's doing that, it's going to be that much better of a team. It's going to make you that much better of a team. So really appreciative of Devin.
This defense has been either number 1 or number 2 in getting turnovers the last 2 years. Obviously, Coach Schaefer, let's get the dang ball back. That's the last thing he says almost every day. Talk about the attitude of having that as what you guys want to accomplish.
You have young guys, you have old guys, but anytime you have a coach who has that much pride and something like that, it makes you want to go that much harder for him. So I can honestly say, since he's been here, since I've been here, I've done nothing but want to go hard for that coach, and very thankful that he's in my life, because without him, I would not be here. And he did a little speech a couple weeks ago, or I want to say last week, talking about get the ball back, get the dang ball back, and kind of hit home for everybody, because it's getting close to game week, getting close to game time. So everybody's fired up right now. As you said a while ago, like we got to maintain, keep ourselves on composure and stuff. But Coach Schaefer, playing for Coach Schaefer has been a joy.
we talked a little bit about this with Coach Stockstill, but obviously we don't really know who the quarterback will be for Alabama. How do y'all approach that, in the film room, on the practice field this week against the Steps and getting ready for might be some contrasting looks out of that position?
Like Nick said, it's a game. It's another game. We've been playing this our whole lives, if not, longer than that. So we're not really too much worried about that. I think for the most part, we're just going to go out and play, do what we do, like Nick said. We're not really worried about any certain things. It's Bama. We know that. We just got to come to play. Coach Stocks talked about how we need to keep away from, mess ups and stuff like that. That's how you lose and win first games. So we're just going to go out and do our thing, do what we know, do what we practice, and play who we are.
Anything else for Trey?
Thank you, guys.
All right, everyone. Just want to remind you, even though it is Labor Day next Monday, we will still have our press conference, just like we will every Monday before a game. And then later on in the year, this will happen on a couple of Fridays due to our midweek schedule. So anyway, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week.